Hi, everybody. This is Fun Speculation Podcast. Thank you for tuning in. What's up? Now, everybody, what's up? This is FSP. How's it going? Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you all. See lots of awesome people already hanging out here in the chat. What's up, Taladia? Hey, what's up, Caitlin, my lovely wife as well. Yeah, we're going to have an awesome show. We got some interesting topics today. We got a full panel as well. Shout out to Kate for helping do the new splash screens right before the show. We're kind of working on a lot of stuff on the graphic side and things right now, trying to up our game a little bit. So we still got some more work to do, but get a little glimpse of what we're working on at least right there as well. What's up, Chris Jones? How's it going? Yeah, let's introduce this amazing panel because we're gonna have some. I have a feeling this is gonna be a little bit more of like a. There's maybe some debating going on in this some of the topics today, so it's gonna be a blast. But we'll get started with the faceless 3-bit. He's got a headache, so because he has a headache, his face doesn't exist today. So shout out to 3-bit. What's up, man? How's it going?
I am a new man. I am now a faceless podcaster. But hello, everyone.
Okay.
I guess for the audio listeners, don't really. But it's good to be here. I don't know. Let's just go start the show.
Start the show? Okay. I'm good. Well, you want me to go to you last next time? Will that make you more comfortable?
Yeah.
Okay, right on. And then we have the realist, the lore master, Jasper. What's up, dude?
It's going pretty good. Played Halo and Division today. Watched Doctor Strange yesterday, so it's been a pretty good week. Get to talk about Xbox and your Gotham Knights prediction, maybe. We'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, dude. Smelling something out there, possibly. I don't know. I've been making this prediction for a while, so I'm throwing it out there. You know, we'll talk about it in a minute, but also
that's your wife's cookies that you're smelling.
Yeah, probably is. Some damn good cookies. She made some cookies the other day. They were freaking amazing. The always fuzzy Belvedere. What's up, dude?
Hey, what's up, everyone? Hey, everyone that's in the chat today. Man, a lot of good stuff. Got to catch the division stuff, so can't wait to talk about that and some of the other topics tonight. Glad to be here with you guys. So let's do this.
Yeah, man. And then we have Vitamin Boy, the mellow photo from outer space. What's up, dude? How's it going, Second Knots?
What's up? I guess I'm never gonna let that down. So
no, I don't think so.
What is what is up, everybody? Glad to be here today. Anytime we talk about the division and things like that, that is up my alley. It's one of my favorite games.
Well, it's about to be relevant again. So
well, awesome. It's always been relevant, but it has.
They've taken a year off of relevancy a little bit. Yeah, we'll get into that. You know,
well,
but
they have done when they brought it to Series X and they added the additional resolution and volumetric frog and everything else. It gained some speed, and then here we go.
Yeah, 100%. We're going to talk a lot about that, and there's reasons to be excited, I think, for the future of that game. So we'll discuss it in a little bit. It's had a long year or so, you know, without a lot of new content or about rehash stuff, but there's a good reason for it. So we'll get into some of that stuff. But yeah, do y'all want to get started with some of these some speculation here? Now, you see on the thumbnail, if you're clicking on this, watching on YouTube, you know, got a little bit of curiosity here about Gotham Knights, you know. So this is a prediction that I made like months and months ago on Mr. Boomstick's channel on Xbox Factor Podcast. I've said it a few times over on Xbox Ultimate and other things. And I mean, it's outlandish. Like, I want everybody to take this with a grain of salt. This is pure speculation, but also there's reasons why I think it could come to fruition. And I feel like some other people are starting to be on the same page, and we're going to discuss this. What are the odds? What are the possibilities of this happening? And that is Gotham Knights potentially, in my mind, coming to Game Pass, right? So adding fuel to the fire today, right? I just happened to notice when Gotham Knights made their post about some stuff that are going to be showing tomorrow, some gameplay from two of the characters. Their Xbox was one of the first ones to comment, as they've done several times in the past on other games that have come into the service. Now they could just be helping prop up their Warner Brothers partners, with that game. Maybe they're gonna have marketing, some kind of aspect on it. But I'll just say the reasons first why I believe that game could be coming to Game Pass and make a case for it. Right now, this is also again nothing behind this. This is not a rumor. This is no like leaks or whatever like this. This is 100% pure speculation. So, but here we go. I'm gonna make a case for it. Right. This game was announced alongside roughly around the same time as Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League. Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League is made by the A team there. It's made by Rocksteady, right? That game and Rocksteady's game was always the number one thing that people were looking for. What's that next big Rocksteady game, right? And then there was like kind of, I'm not going to say I'll just say it, the B team, WB Montreal, right? Then they're making this other game. And we all saw it as like, oh, it's Gotham Knights. It's a Batman thing, but there's no Batman there, right? Maybe Batman's dead, as according to the trailers. So it's like looking like, okay, one game has a lot of hype behind it. And then there's the other game that's like, hey, people are excited for it, but maybe not quite as much as like the Rocksteady game. These games got delayed. They got pushed back and all these things. And I feel like there was like there's excitement for it, but there's not as much as there should be. Right? So that's one thing, okay? Number two, Xbox last year and the year before has been criticized for not having a superhero game that is tied to the franchise. They've had deals. We also saw them put games like Guardians of the Galaxy and Avengers into Game Pass as well, right? After the fact. But it hasn't solved that problem of, that day one launch game coming to Game Pass that's like a superhero genre title. Now they don't have that kind of game in development as far as we know yet. There's rumors of potential Marvel games being in development, but I feel like doing a Game Pass deal with a certain partner could make the case that, hey, you're going to get that game into Game Pass day one, and it's going to associate that brand with your franchise. The other aspect is this is a co-op game. Originally was slated for 2-player co-op. Now there's information coming out on the PlayStation that said that potentially 4-player co-op on the information now. So now it's looking like it potentially could have at least a 4-player co-op mode or some kind of other mode that's 4-player. We don't know those details yet. They're supposed to give us some more information at some point. So there's that aspect. Now, what platform is synonymous with co-op and games like that? It's the Xbox, right? They love those kind of games. They love pushing those kind of games. So you got the superhero checkbox, you got the co-op checkbox, you got the two teams making two different superhero games for the same publisher. This one's kind of like the B level compared to the Suicide Squad, right? Game. So you got that checkbox. I feel like it'd be easier to make a deal for this game as opposed to it would be as easy to make a deal for the Suicide Squad game, right? So I'd say, go for it. If you want to make a huge splash this year and you want to have a big title, because we haven't had that really big, like, first party day one game this year that besides MLB The Show is kind of big. That was a brand new announcement, and we've been anticipating, waiting for that to happen. So I feel like Gotham Knights could be that game. And usually the other aspect of this is when they do announce these things, they don't usually announce it till close to when the game comes out, because they don't want to hinder the sales of the game. So the same thing with Outriders and some other games that had hit Game Pass day one, they don't announce till later on, right? So just because we haven't seen an announcement of it right now doesn't mean a damn thing. Sometimes it's like a week or two before the game actually launches, before we get those kind of announcements. So I see Taladia says that the rumor of a 4-player was debunked by the branding manager. I don't know. Like, I just remember yesterday seeing something about a 4-player potentially mode or something.
Yeah, Eurogamer has confirmed it, that it is accurate.
That it is accurate, or
that it is accurate.
What does that mean?
That 4-player came out. That is 4-player co-op.
When did that article come out? So
today.
Okay, so I didn't see that because I was just Googling it earlier.
Yeah. Here,
So the branding man. So now I'm getting conflicting reports because
yeah, it is. Let's see, where's
I think it's probably a 4-player mode and a 2-player campaign.
It's in. I'll put it in Ultimates.
Okay, Warner Brothers confirms Gotham Knights only has 2-player co-op, but doesn't rule out extra modes.
Also updated the store with this original leak came back. It's now 2 players again on the store instead of 4 players on the store where this leak actually came from.
Right.
So.
Okay, so it is 2-player co-op, but doesn't rule out new modes. So it potentially could be 4. I don't know what you're a gamer saying, but that's not what I'm seeing from all these other websites now that I'm Googling it. So I would say that there's potential that maybe there's a 4-player mode coming, like a separate mode, right? That could come out.
Could.
But it looks like as of right now it is 2-player. So thank you for sharing that, Taladia. It looks like you've been following the Gotham Knights train. So basically, now I'm putting all these, things together, trying to make a case. I want to know how you guys feel about it. Do you think I'm like crazy? Do you think this is something that's feasible, or do you think like this isn't? You think this is gonna happen or never gonna happen?
I'll just play devil's advocate to your point. The Game Pass thing, like I know you saw like Xbox tweeted at Gotham Knights today, or whatever. Is like, ooh, look at this event or whatever. Like that doesn't necessarily mean that it's coming to Game Pass. It could just be like Xbox's Twitter, like they like to play around with all the companies, so it's like maybe they're just like playing around, hyping it up. So like I don't necessarily think that just because Xbox is like teasing the Gotham Knights stream or like messing with them on Twitter, that I don't think that means that it's Game Pass.
Yeah, no, if it was just that, I'd be like, okay, because we've seen that numerous times before. But because I already predicted it and I added those other things, when I see that, it's like got me a little bit more excited. So like maybe like potentially it adds a little fuel to the fire, and nothing for you with that.
It definitely does. Like I said, I was just playing devil's advocate. To
okay, so you're on the same page then. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I wasn't like when you started saying this stuff like a couple months ago. I was like, "There's no way that's gonna be in Game Pass, whatever." Like day one, but like the more it gets closer to release, I'm like, yeah, maybe it will be Game Pass day one. So I don't know.
Right on. Okay, so I'm starting to convince you. It means I'm having influence over your decision making. This is really interesting.
Influencer.
I mean, it's not hard to make a case for it because I think it makes sense for Xbox.
You're also like a confirmed insider now. Like you started doing all that smelling shit, and then this came out again. So like,
yeah. Well, I'm just gonna say, I mean, I'm not an insider, but like, I have, like, sometimes I'm a good guesser, right? Like, that's the difference. There's a difference. I guess wrong a lot.
That's a way to break the NDAs. I just guessed it.
Right. Like I guess like there's like we guessed that there was gonna be a Splinter Cell game coming out and potentially it was gonna have a storyline revolving Sarah Fisher. I don't know. We guessed that. That was a guess. Now has it happened yet? Half of it's happened, right? So we'll see what the other.
Well, watch it there, Caitlin. That's not what's happening.
We also saw that they are making a book revolving around Sarah Fisher right around the time that this game's getting kicked off. It's kind of interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway. 3-bit, what do you think about WB and Gotham Knights?
Yeah, I think first off, not having Batman as like their lead in the game makes it so they like marketing wise they have to push it in other areas. Like Batman is not anywhere in this game. I mean, he's dead or whatever, and it's a co-op, dead. And it's a co-op game. It sort of fits the Game Pass mantra. I was looking at other games from Warner Brothers, more so like Rocksteady, that has went into Game Pass, and it seems like Arkham Knight was in Game Pass at one point. I don't know if it still is on there, but they I know it's no longer in there. But I could totally see them dropping this nugget in their press conference. It's just really a matter of when Xbox wants to start dropping like these small bombs of information of games and what they'll do in their press conference and what they'll do like out of it, because they have so much news, I'm sure, that they're holding back. I think Gotham Knights would be a nice little thing to add there. Oh yeah, you could play this in Game Pass day one. You know, that'd be pretty cool. I'm on the map train. I think you're onto something. You smelling something else?
Maybe them trying to will this into existence, right? I mean, I just think it would be good for the game because you would automatically get all that multiplayer engagement. You know what I mean? A lot of people would be super excited for it, and also like it would be really good for Xbox and Game Pass as well.
Has any
right?
WB game came out to Game Pass like day one?
All I could see was
Not
like
day one.
Well, not
Back
day
for
one,
Blood.
but-
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, and Claudia
Oh,
was
wait.
hit us with that fact as well, right?
Yeah.
That's
Before Back to
But
Blood.
see, that was
there
like a
really
new
hasn't-
IP, and like that wasn't known, but like
But there hasn't really been a game they put out since Game Pass's existence, pretty much.
But didn't Back for Blood do very well? Also,
I mean,
Taladia
Lego
the
Star
facts.
Wars just came
Huh?
out. I said Lego Star Wars just came
Oh
out.
yeah, true. Okay.
Okay.
But,
Well,
but did Back for Blood do very
besides
well though?
that,
it's the most successful of these like co-op PvE shooters recently. I mean, we've had a lot of those drop. Like
Yeah.
Aliens Fireteam Elite came out, and then that game came out. Second Extinction had game preview. A lot of these different games came out. Back for Blood is the one that is still, I think, doing a little bit better than the rest. I don't know if it's because of Game Pass. I know that they have praised Game Pass publicly from the developers. So, you know, if it works for them and they see it's working for their co-op stuff, that's another thing that could add fuel to the fire here. You know, it just kind of looks like it's a good fit.
no, it does. What is it? Tall Tale? Is it Tall Tales or Traveler Tales?
Traveler Tale.
Traveler Tales.
So they I don't think they've ever put any game that they had into Game Pass. So for them, I mean, I don't really consider them as I know they're part of Warner Brothers, but it's like they still do their own thing to a point. So it's like those games always do well regardless.
Well, Turtle Rock, who made Back for Blood, they're not even part of WB. I think WB just published it for them, though, right?
Yeah.
I believe so. Yeah, I believe
Yeah.
so. I'm not 100% on that. I would have to double check. I mean, maybe Taladia in the chat.
Yeah,
knows.
Back
WB
for
did the
Blood.
publishing. They're probably the ones that made the deal with Xbox in regards to getting that
Right.
into Game Pass.
Yeah, Turtle Rock is owned by Tencent, so
and
Yes,
Back
that
for
is
Blood.
correct.
Yeah, Back for Blood got DLC too, so it's staying pretty relevant right now. That's why it's doing pretty good.
But you know, another game that's PvE that's like a 4-player or a 3-player, maybe 3-player. I can't. Rainbow Six Extraction, right? Hit, and that's not WB, that's Ubisoft. But we're starting to see more of these games that this style. You know, I'm not saying like Rainbow Six Extraction is the same as Gotham Knights, right? But that
Co-op.
has like a strong multiplayer component to it, right?
The co-op experience.
Co-op, right? Like that is kind of made. It's great for a service like Game Pass because a co-op game, it requires you to play with somebody else, so you don't have to. You can play solo, but it makes the experience better, and it helps the engagement for the game, and it helps them, I think, even sell more copies in the long run, right? So even if it's like something that was only in Game Pass for like 3 months, could greatly help get that game out there more. Not that they're gonna have necessarily trouble selling it because it's a WB Gotham Knights game, but it is Gotham Knights. It's not Arkham Asylum 2 or like Arkham City 2 or anything like that. You know, it's not like the next of the Batman series, right? So that kind of lends me to think another reason why it could be there is because it's just a little bit like lower tier than that Suicide Squad game. I feel like, you know, and I feel like the Suicide Squad game would be a harder get for Game Pass, because you got, you know, major DC characters in that. You got Flash, you got Superman, you know, you got the whole Suicide Squad and everything. You got co-op on that too, but I feel like that's gonna be the bigger game. Also, when Gotham Knights was revealed, I haven't seen any updates on it, but it did have like those RPG elements to it with like the hit markers and stuff, you know, with the damage indicators. So that kind of feeds into the kind of game that this is. Fuzzy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know
Yeah.
from Fuzzy if he thinks I'm crazy. Like, is this a possibility?
No, I think you're onto something as well. I mean, there's been a few WB games, even though they didn't launch day and date. You had like Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War, I believe, both go into Game Pass at some point. One of their, what was that? Monolith Studios that did that, so that they've been in there. Mad Max has been in there. I think at one point, Dying Light, which was published by WB, the original one, I think was in there briefly. Um, and as far as the Traveler's Tale games, I think we usually wind up,
Games with
be it
gold.
although it's a few years later, we usually get those, like games with gold type of thing, as opposed to in Game Pass. But I, you're onto something with the co-op, just because it seems like more of the day and date games that they get are somewhat of a co-op or multiplayer related type of game. I mean, your MLBs, your Outriders, your Back for Blood type of deals. I think the only day and dates that they have worked on that I can think of recently, other than some of the smaller indies, would be like your Plague's Tale type of thing, where they're more of a single player type of game. But a majority of the stuff has been co-op of some sort, and it looks like there's a good relationship between Xbox and WB, and I'm pretty sure there's been some pretty productive meetings between the two as far as negotiations or stall to negotiations. But let's put it this way: if they can't purchase or are not going to purchase the studios because of the ABK deal going on in the background, I think they'll find a way to spend the money to get Gotham Knights. Like you said, the Suicide Squad, it's going to be a more expensive get for them. They may still try to get that on the service as well, but I think Gotham Knights, it doesn't seem to have as much buzz about it as the Suicide Squad game does. But I think Sarah Bond and Phil will probably reach out to them and say what's it going to cost to at least get this day and date.
That's
and,
a point that you just made me think of, is like, if Xbox, like the rumors like Xbox might buy WB, why would they waste like $300 million on getting the Gotham Knight IP if they're just going to end up buying the studio in like a year and then they put it on the Game Pass? Like,
well, I think the big thing is because of how everything is kind of on hold. Like I seriously believe that if they really wanted to get Crystal Dynamics, and Square just wasn't going to be patient enough. So I think at least getting the game, even though they may have to spend over $100 million to do so, it might wind up making it easier negotiating the license if they wind up picking up Rocksteady or something like that. So it's like, okay, this is kind of like a down payment or like a reserve type of deal. But I don't think there's going to be any buying of WB Studios until the ink is dry on Activision Blizzard. Even though they shouldn't have to wait, but I think for optics they will wait.
Yeah,
and I think this like brings up another point. Like, maybe WB, if they see like, oh, Microsoft's willing to give us $100 million to get it exclusively on like Game Pass day one, like maybe we won't sell the studio. Maybe we'll just keep making games and then renting out our games to Xbox for like.
Well, they're in the subscription service going forward, right? Like, primarily is their main business. So but I think they're going to sell off those studios and then just license back the IP of the DC license, like Disney Plus does in the future, right?
Yeah.
I think that's their end game. Is, okay, we acquired this, we're going to sell off the studios, shed weight, because they can make money back on the licenses, and then either they sell it all together, which may be easier, as was made a point by somebody on another show of ours, but they could also piecemeal it out. Who knows? I want what's best for the studios, and it doesn't seem like WB Discovery is focused for the future of gaming, right? Like, they don't, because all of their announcements have zero to do with gaming. It's all about big streaming services and all this kind of stuff. And because it's a new company, we don't know. But Pong made a good point in the chat. He said WB Discovery may be down for taking some upfront money for those books, which they're to help those books. Maybe they're fine with taking some upfront money for Game Pass, and they don't have to rely as much on the sales and something they're not planning on keeping long term anyway, right? So that could be another reason you could potentially see something like this come to Game Pass.
I can definitely, I definitely see for the with WB the games, at least from the DC comics, they'll probably keep those licensing just so they can, if you want to make a Superman or a Batman game or something like that, you just pay for some licensing. This way they can make money, but they sell off the studios so they can offset all that, income that they have to pay for employees and insurance and everything else, but keep those licensings that keep getting money coming in.
Like how many Star Wars games do we have now, right? And how many other Marvel games do we have now in the works? Like a ton, because Disney's no longer relying on in-house studios. They're just letting anybody who wants to pay a fee make a Star Wars or Marvel game. I think that's going to be the future for WB Discovery as well.
And that's why we see that they're trying to sell off the Lords of the Ring IP movie. I think that was it, the movie and video game licensing that they were trying
Amazon
to
got everything with that.
So if did they buy it?
Yeah, Amazon bought Lord of the Rings because they got MGM, I think.
No, they don't. They don't have the Lord of the Rings license. The Lord of the Rings licensing is being sold off
by James Bond
by Tolkien right now. So there's a Tolkien Studios that's part of like a Saul Zaentz. It's the name of the company, and he holds the Tolkien Holdings, and Tolkien whatever the Tolkien company is, and they are being auctioned off right now, and they were asking $2 billion as a starting price, right?
For movie and the game
for
licensings,
all of the above, I believe, but. In the meantime, right now, they just Tolkien signed a deal with EA for a mobile game, so they're still doing licensing right now for new games, even while it's being sold. So we don't know who's going to buy that, but it's Amazon right now just licensed it, I believe, to make a show, or somebody else funded the show and then Amazon picked it up. I don't know 100% how that worked with that deal, but nobody owns Nobody else, no big publisher owns Lord of the Rings right now.
WB doesn't technically own the Lord of the Rings.
No, they just licensed out those games. That was like the same deal. Like
Tolkien has them,
right?
Okay, so
Lord of the Rings does not come along with anything WB Discovery. That was just a licensing deal for those games.
Okay, so that's why we're not seeing. That's why we're seeing that being sold off outside of the studios that we're working on.
Yeah, it's a different company altogether that owns that.
Okay, that makes sense why they're doing that. So I mean, it'd be interesting what they do with these. If they keep the licensings and just sell off the IPs, like another realm. I believe Mortal Kombat will come with them. I believe the Nemesis engine with Monolith will go with them. It won't stay with the Warner Brother Discovery.
But they wouldn't have any use for it at that point either. You know what I mean? They're not doing anything.
But as a license, like they could sell. It'd be kind of shitty. But hey, you want to use your own engine? You got to pay for it. Yeah. So it'd be kind of. I mean, it's money, so who knows? That's right now is what they want.
Well, do you think this live stream coming up? Like, I don't see it. If it's going to be a Game Pass game, I don't see them announcing Game Pass tomorrow or whatever the event is, because that would be like an Xbox thing, wouldn't it? Like,
I wouldn't anticipate an announcement of this game coming to Game Pass until about 2-3 weeks before it comes out.
Yeah. I would. When is it scheduled to come out? Because we got the summer game.
Gotham Knights release date. I remember it was delayed.
Wasn't it October or
it's like later.
I think it's pushed to October.
October 25th.
Okay, maybe they'll do it at the Summer Games Fest. Because they got to give. They have to give something. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, it would be a big announcement, but like from what we've seen from Xbox and these third-party deals, when these big publishers have these games come into Game Pass, they're usually not announcing those way ahead of time. They're usually announcing them a few weeks before, and probably at the request of the publishers because they don't want to lose out on potential game sales on the platform ahead of time, right? So they would rather like everybody just pre-order their game as much as possible, and then later on, a few people may refund it if they find out the
Well, I mean,
game's
we got
coming to Game
Plague's Tale
Pass.
like a year and a half before.
That's true. I mean, it's not every time, but I think part of that could be dependent on who's helping fund the game as well, right? Maybe like Microsoft has a hand in helping fund potentially Plague Tale or something with the marketing rights and all that kind of stuff. But like Gotham Knights has been in the works
And
for a
Sniper
really long
Elite's
time.
been announced for a while too.
Yeah, it has.
So
It's not every case, but Outriders 2
Yeah.
weeks before, right? It came out.
Well, I think that was a special case because there was so much hype behind that. So Xbox was like, "Hey, what?
Yeah.
With all the hype that's coming on, let's put this into Game Pass."
Last year when MLB
worked.
the show came to Game Pass right away, like for the first time, it was like 2 weeks before as well. you know? I think the biggest surprise is usually they announce like pretty close to seeing before it's released. But
Yeah, Extraction wasn't too far ahead of its
Extraction was like a
as
few
well.
weeks ahead as well. And these are what I mean is like big third party published games that aren't really associated with Xbox necessarily. You know what I mean?
To me, it was really weird. Like if you go back to when Warner Brothers was first going up for auction, where we heard rumors of that, and then it didn't go through because I thought it didn't go through because they realized the potential of their gaming division and how profitable it actually was. But I also am taking into consideration of the new WB Discovery and what their new goals are as a company and et cetera, et cetera. So it does make me wonder what company who was talking, which companies were like talking to them before. Are they still considering them currently, or in what goes with that deal? I guess whoever buys these studios will get the rights to franchises like Mortal Kombat, but everything else they'll have to buy that separately. And it does make me wonder what studio is it even worth buying the studios without guarantee of the IP?
But see, would they even sell off Mortal Kombat? Because that's like one of their biggest movies in the past few years is Mortal Kombat.
I mean, why else would you buy Warner Brothers if you don't get anything besides the studios? To me, that's not worth it. It's why I think CD Projekt Red isn't worth it. Also, like you buy CD Projekt Red and you're not really getting much IP. I'm just thinking about it from like a
CD Projekt Red owns their IP, right? Like, they own Cyberpunk
they
and
don't
Witcher,
own
right?
They don't own Witcher.
They
or
own the
Cyberpunk.
game rights to Witcher, I think.
Yeah, they're the only ones that can
maybe.
do Witcher, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll have to see into that because I know they don't own Cyberpunk outright or Witcher. That's technically the author, and that's why like with Witcher 4, they even had to negotiate to even make the Witcher 4. So I know there's some deals at least with Witcher. I don't know about Cyberpunk, but
yeah, I'm not sure.
I think that with at least with like the Mortal Kombat movie, like anything that's an entertainment type of franchise, they'll keep those rights, those licensings, but the gaming aspect they'll give it to NetherRealms to whoever buys it. So this way WB still can make the movies and and have the or have some type of rights to the movies. So they wouldn't want to sell off the movies to what the fuck is Microsoft going to do with the Mortal Kombat movie IP? You know what I mean? So that aspect, the entertainment, like movies and things like that, I believe would stay with Warner Brothers unless another film company wants to pick it up. Like a MGM or a Paramount or something like that. And then we could see that. Unless Microsoft buys Paramount and starts getting into entertainment media.
I mean, you see how successful. I mean, Halo's their most successful show on Paramount. So I feel like that's just them wanting to get into the TV space even more. Well, I don't know.
If we see the Gears of War become a movie, then I can see it shows that Microsoft is ready to take that step into that entertainment side of the media. So we'll start seeing movies and gaming going hand in hand. Not won't be tied. I don't see them making a Gears of War video game at the
See, to
same
me,
time as the
like,
movie. But
to me, I think like WB, I think they don't want to sell their gaming division. They just don't talk about it. Like Amazon has a gaming division, they just don't talk about it. I think it's just like one of those things where it's just like it exists in our company. We fund it, but we just don't talk about it. That's kind of where I have the WB.
Yeah, that's a
thing.
But I
shitty
thought
way
they
to
did.
handle your company.
But no,
You know
I
what
thought
mean?
they
Like,
did. I thought they did.
But they're trying to
mention-
sell it too.
Yeah, I thought they mentioned that they wanted.
There was
get rid
there
of
was
the-
rumors. They didn't
it's just
say
rumors.
they
It's
didn't
nothing,
say
like, confirmed.
anything publicly themselves, but there was a rumor that came
Okay.
out like 2 weeks ago from substantial insiders. Like they had more than one person had corroborated this, that they were looking at selling their game studios, and these weren't like podcast people. I mean, these were like journalists from like credible websites and stuff that are known to have inside knowledge, right? So, but they did not come forward all the way to write an article about it because they said that like they just isn't concrete enough 100%, but it was enough for them to tweet about it, which was weird. But they did put out publicly, multiple people that they had heard that WB was moving on from the games industry. WB Games, WB Discovery was looking to potentially sell off their studios, which also kind of co-aligned with something that I had been noticing, as they had not made gaming a priority talking point in any of the talks going forward whatsoever, and with so much that they're trying to get off the ground with the streaming service and kind of build up this streaming giant to go head to head with Netflix and Disney and all these different things. Maybe that gaming and the long-term investment that it requires is not necessarily in their best interest right now, because
But my question, Mav, is like to you guys, what kind of stopped them before? Do you guys think they realized it was profitable and now because of the merger
there was I mean, when Microsoft was in the talks to buy them before?
Yeah, because they were trying to sell it off before because of the same thing.
Because I think
Activision
that
came up.
well, that was before that, but I think that ultimately I think this was part of the master plan from them, right? As far as like what their intentions were, and I think maybe part of that deal with whoever they're dealing with before, because you're talking about rumors were in the billions, right, for all of WB Games. That would have come along with the IP. That would have had to have come along with the IP for that price point, right? You wouldn't be making that kind of deal long term for 12, 14 billion, whatever the negotiation price was back then. Because I remember that they said it wasn't enough, right? So I feel like this other opportunity came up with the WB Discovery, and that was the avenue that they took instead, and to form this new company, and then maybe an idea of, okay, we're going to form this new studio instead, then we're going to sell off our studios and keep the IP. Because for the pricing that was rumored beforehand, the IP would have had to go along with that to make that work. I feel like that wasn't in their best interest, what they saw value wise going for them in the future, and they saw potential to do this streaming giant company and also maybe license back the IP and sell off the studios, but they wouldn't sell off the studios ahead of time unless the price was right. And I think they probably maybe decided to back away and just do this and handle that after the fact, right? So it's more tidy, right? I think because of the history of the teams that were all the different publishers that were interested in acquiring the game studios before, I feel like after this deal got finalized and they could have discussions, is why we're starting to see those talks ramp back up again, because they can't do anything until their deal is done, right?
Yeah.
They were locked away in this limbo period. Now that deal's done, and now you're starting to hear rumblings again. So number one, when they made the official announcement, like, hey, we're in an official company, the deal's closed, we're excited about our streaming future, all these different things we have, all these different things we're going to be going against, all this stuff. They didn't mention gaming once in all of that in their official statements. And then shortly after that, a week later, comes out from the insiders saying that, hey, we're hearing rumblings that they're looking under moving away from their gaming studios, right? So I think keeping the IP was crucial for them, for their licensing plans for the future, because they see what Disney's doing, they see what other people are doing, and like I said, how many games does Disney have out there now that are being developed, right? They're going to make a lot of money from all of that. And going back, I wanted to bring up the Witcher again, because so he basically this was a crazy story, because
they've had issues with that. Yeah.
So they made a deal a long time ago with the author, and he agreed to sell it to them up front for the gaming rights and all that stuff. Yeah. He agreed to sell it to them for like a lower amount because he didn't feel like there was going to be any profit or whatever, right? So he was like, did an upfront price. So they acquired the rights. Then later it turned into this huge success, and he's like, holy shit, what did I do? Right? So then he goes around and sues them for like $16 million or something like that. And then they renegotiate on that and then come up with a different plan. But yeah, so basically they do own the gaming rights and the like graphic novels as well.
Yeah, I think they licensed the thing for Netflix because you see.
I remember that
Project
story.
Red.
Yeah,
at the
they did like he didn't really have a case on them. Like he clearly
he just screwed up, and then they like
he just sold it, and
it was because of some kind of Polish law. I guess he was able to get this, but he sued them for $16 million, and he ended up
from what I remember, Matt, like CD Projekt Red wanted like a good relationship with him for future projects.
Yes, because they were a fan of his work originally. That's why they made the game.
Yeah, my whole thing is like, do they have to negotiate with him every time with future Witchers? I'm sure they do, like future games. Like
I don't
Witcher
think
4.
they have to.
Oh, depending on whatever that new contract was they made with him.
The game developer will continue to have the rights to the IP in video games, graphic novels, board games, and merchandise.
They probably just renegotiated for royalties and ups up front.
So what about Cyberpunk?
Yeah, he's going to get a royalty basically on anything they do in the future, as opposed to using.
I think the author for Cyberpunk got a better deal. Like he was better at negotiating his contract, I believe.
Yeah.
Like I think he also has some future stuff that they've.
There's a board game, right? Like Cyberpunk stuff.
Like a tabletop and board game or something like that.
CD Projekt Red owns the rights to that too.
Yeah, but he, I think, put in a better request for royalties and upfront money and stuff like that. That's why he was like so, like, well, I won't say he was happy, but you saw him a lot more because he's pretty much like, it's almost like he's partnered in a way where he gets a piece of the future pie for that. So he was better at the negotiating part than the guy from Witcher, but the Witcher guy, I'm pretty sure is now going to be covered with royalties and stuff like that as well.
Exactly. But that just shows how big IP is, right? And why WB Discovery wouldn't want to just relinquish their maybe that IP, and they went this other route instead. So I mean, this is all speculative. Like we don't know 100% know what went on behind the scenes, but there was rumors of them being in talks. Like it was like a year and a half ago, and then there was rumors that they decided that they wanted more money and they pulled out. Then the next thing we know, WB Discovery thing is announced. We had a big show about that, talking about all the possibilities. And one of those possibilities was them moving on from the gaming division. And it seems like potentially that's what's happening now, right? So maybe, Gotham Knights coming to Game Pass would just be a way for them to get a quick buck. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's very possible that
someone needs to go be a board member on WB and find out what's happening.
I can literally see it happening both ways, which is why it's so hard, because I'm just basing it off of their history. They seem pretty stingy on the deal to begin with, but it could have been what Mav was saying, like
different
because
company
of the
now.
Discovery,
right?
Yeah, it's a different company, so I could see it literally going either way, where they just sell off their studios and then license out the IPs, or whoever. If I was a part of those talks and I was Microsoft, I would want the IPs as well, because they already have plenty of studios, right? But I would also want the IP
But you ain't
Otherwise, I
getting
don't
DC
think I would make the
now, not from WB Discovery, right? That's just
deal.
off
You're
the
a
table.
trillion-dollar company. You want
Unless they
those
buy,
IP.
that's what Pong says.
Yeah.
Unless they buy the whole damn thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
That's the only way you're getting the IP is if you go out there and you purchase WB Discovery and it's in and
Like
it's
we
an
want the
entire
studio,
They
the
bought the house.
stapler, the IP.
right. You're
you know,
not
this
going to separate
chair.
DC license from them because that's what they exist for, right? Like you're taking away their. Imagine this: you form this new company, right? Hey, yeah, we're great. We're gonna have this streaming giant, and imagine like Disney doing this. Okay, yeah, we're going Disney. We're gonna be awesome. But hey, first let's sell off Star Wars and sell off Marvel. We don't need those anymore. We're just gonna make new things. You know, that would be like dumb, right? Like WB Discovery is not gonna sell off the DC licensing for anything, including gaming. But they could potentially sell the entire company, right? Which could be another reason why the company was formed in the first place, to be able to be sold to a larger entity as well, right? But it would have to be to get through all the FTC shit and everything going on now. You would think it would have to be somebody that's not already a streaming giant, right? You'd have to go to somebody maybe like a Microsoft that's just getting into the movie and television streaming space, right? So that would be a fit for that to happen. That's why a lot of people are saying that, and Pong's been all over this, you know, saying just buy WB Discovery outright. You know, Microsoft do DC shows and DC games and all that stuff. It'd be amazing. But I don't know if it would happen until after the Activision Blizzard deal's done.
Yeah, I think that deal, what it solidified with me is that they have to wait to make some deals. Like before, I was like, I don't think they. I mean, right now there's no law or rule that says they can't buy a company right now.
Right, 100%.
And to be fair, they still can. But I think what this deal did solidify is because of what happened with Crystal Dynamics is they are putting a lot of their focus into this deal, making sure it goes through.
I think it's not worth the risk
kind of,
for optics and stuff, you know, like
it's not worth it. So once the deal goes through, then buy whoever they want. But it did solidify that.
Fight one battle at a time, especially when they're fighting the biggest battle that they're going to have, probably, right?
Right. It's all just PR at this point. We know that it's not a monopoly. We know all that nonsense, but it's all about how it's seen, and they want to appear to be the good guys in this situation.
Let's get to a couple of super chats here. We got a $1.99 super chat from RWK88. Shout out to you, sir. Thank you so much. He said, sorry I'm late. Appreciate y'all. Hey, anytime anybody hops in, even just to drop a like or check out a minute of our show, we greatly appreciate everybody. Also, Chris Jones with the $2 super chat. Shout out to Chris. He says, don't spend this all in one place. Oh, don't worry. We'll split it evenly 5 ways. We'll get 40 cents a piece, and we'll go get a stick of gum. Let's go.
Yeah. Let me know where you buy that at.
I'm just kidding. Appreciate you, Chris, for real, man. Everybody else in the chat, Fifth Horseman, Decado, Jay Vargas, shout out to you guys. Mr. Joanna Dark. What's up, Joanna? How's it over there in Xbox headquarters, Mr. Joanna Dark? Having fun over there? Man, Triumphant Design. Also, earlier he had said there's no way Sony would be allowed to buy WB when they already own Columbia Pictures. Yeah, I think that Sony would be a harder purchase for WB Discovery than Microsoft would. But
I don't even know if they have enough. They don't have $60 billion. They can just go buy WB with.
Why? That's the other question. How much would WB Discovery cost? It would be pretty expensive.
They bought WB for 45, so I'm assuming Discovery is probably worth like at least 10 or 20.
Was it 45? Was
I thought so. Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
I don't remember. WB.
It was somewhere north of 30. It was definitely north of 30.
And then you got to think of even like they have to pay more than what it's actually worth.
Yeah.
So like 10, 20%. And
their market cap right now is okay. That's
according to tweaktown.com. Sony has $10 billion left to spend on acquisitions through 2023.
Yeah, that's been out.
$43.076 billion. Right now for WB Discovery is the market cap. So that would be like 60 bill, like you said.
Yeah.
To acquire. Like Sony's out of the ball game there, right?
Well, the one thing Sony would try and do is get NetherRealm. I mean, they already have pretty much the collection of all other of the competitive fighters. If they get Mortal Kombat, I mean, I won't say it's game over for Xbox as far as fighting games are concerned, because we still have the Killer Instinct, IP, but that would pretty much kind of push us out of ever being included in that. Their what is that thing called? Not Smash GG, because that's what I think MSN owns now, or Microsoft owns, but like
I think
the whole
Apple
esports
would be the
aspect.
only other competitor that could possibly get WB without it being a monopoly, because Apple has a streaming service that would benefit from, but no one is so small. They also want to get into games, so I think Apple would probably be the only one that has enough money that wouldn't be considered monopoly, because Amazon, they have Prime. So
I mean, and realistically, none of them are actually monopoly. There's so much competition in the streaming space. I mean, realistically, any of these companies could get it probably through. Like the hardest one would be Disney, probably, because they just got Fox. But other than them, like I think anybody could, because they could argue, well, we're trying to compete with Disney, and they just got Fox. What the hell are you going to do about it? You know what I mean? So realistically, any of them, I think, could get it to pass. It's just about if you can afford it or not. And that's another whole thing, because that's $60 billion is not like, there's not very many companies. That's like Microsoft. I mean, Microsoft, Amazon,
Apple.
What's Netflix market cap right now?
They've lost like 50 billion like in the last month or whatever, haven't they?
Yeah, Netflix. I mean, because they're losing subscribers, but they might,
I think they're like 140, because I think they were almost 200, and I think they lost 50 billion with like a lot of their press.
Yeah, man, their market's been up and down like crazy. It's like I would like, I feel like if I say what it is, like in like a minute, it could be something different.
But I kind of see Netflix being one that would make more sense for them. They get the content for their streaming service. They get, they're trying to get into gaming as well. I mean, from my understanding, it's out of Embracer Group's pocket size. So, because I think they just took some more loans, so they have somewhere between, I think, 4 and 7 billion or something for future stuff. But I mean, unless Embracer just wants NetherRealm or like an individual studio, if they're even allowed to even split them up, or if Discovery wants to split them up.
Yeah, it just plummeted to 80, around the 80 billion mark.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's like, for Netflix, that's like crazy low, because
Netflix is really volatile right now.
Yeah, they are. Right? Like if you go back to November of just a year, like in 2021, right? So that's what like that's like November of, that's like what, 6 months ago, pretty much. Check this number out.
Yeah.
305 billion. 305.91 billion on October 25th, right, of last year. So you're like less than a third. That's like a huge. I mean, that's bad. Like Netflix is. No,
maybe we're focused on the wrong company. Maybe someone's going to buy Netflix.
I mean, holy shit. I didn't know it was that bad.
Looking at this all wrong, guys. Netflix is the one to be acquired.
Yeah, I mean, looking at their numbers, it's pretty crazy. I mean, I think they're going to obviously probably raise again. I don't think they're just going to keep plummeting, but that's pretty insane. I think they've had a lack of like big time shows that have really been driving some of the success too. Like it's been forever since Stranger Things has come out.
Yeah.
It comes out next month, doesn't it?
Yeah. When we see some of these big shows come out and there are more people resubscribe, you're probably going to see
Love, Death, Robots. Let's go.
Yes.
I actually, a lot of people I can't wait for that. I don't think it's the content as much. I think it's their costs. Like
Costs are too
it's
high.
hard. It's getting harder and harder to justify Netflix rising their prices every few months. It feels like, while you have these other streaming services offering like just as good quality now. Like Netflix used to have a bar of, these are Netflix exclusives. You can only get this on Netflix. Now you have all these other streaming services, and they're cheaper, and they're offering just as much quality. So honestly, I don't think it's the shows, or like they don't have Stranger Things, and I think that will boost it for sure. I think it's more so the cost is
Also,
constantly
people
going
are
up.
starting to go out more. They don't need Netflix. And
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they did raise a lot in the middle of COVID. Like the market
Yeah.
was going up and up and up, right? Shout out to Dirt Griggity, Weebly Green Podcast. Just became a speculator, bro. Appreciate you, Dirt. Thanks for joining the channel. Dude. Yeah, I don't know, man, but ultimately, hey, I'm still gonna bet. If I had $1 to put on it, I put $1 that
$1.
that WB games or that Gotham Knights is coming to Game Pass. Let's go. That's
I'll throw in 50 cents on that bet.
throwing 50 cents. Do we got any takers?
I'll put in Chris Jones's dollar, so I'm not wasting a
Okay,
dollar.
right on.
Yeah, I'll put my 40 cents that Chris Jones gave me.
There we go. Are we all? Can we all like agree to put $2 the Chris Jones super chat up?
Yeah, we'll put in Chris Jones money.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got $2 on it.
We got $2 on it.
We'll see. I mean, I think there's a good reason to think, but hey, let's move past this. Hey guys, guess what else happened this week? Xbox Live had some outages and some weird stuff. I don't know if it's like purely outages, because it wasn't just like out. It was like out for some people, not out for others. Like, and it wasn't really ever out. It was like no access to games for some people, and it's raised some concern over like the digital future of gaming, and like Microsoft going back to evil DRM and all this kind of stuff. And I think maybe there's more to it. Like, it's just a weird bug or a weird system error that was happening that caused a lot of issues. But yeah, did anybody here have any issues over the weekend?
Yeah,
No.
I had issues, but when I disconnected from the internet, like when I took the Xbox and disconnected it, everything was fine. So
I think their validation was just messed up.
Their validation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was
I
going
think-
on with your what issues were you having with, like, explain it? What
it
happened?
just, well, I just couldn't. When I started a game, it says I didn't own it, and I'm like, what the fuck you mean I don't own it? I know I fucking own this game.
Right.
And when I disconnected it, the games were there, and I was able to play them. So that's everyone sitting there saying that they couldn't play a lot of their games, and everything that I had downloaded to the console was playable. Now I couldn't play games that, like, because me and my brother game share those games. I could not play. I could not play those games, but because I was disconnected from the internet and I couldn't, access his account, so that's why I couldn't play them. But other than that, everything else was playable. So
your console is set to his home console. Right?
no, my console is my home.
How do y'all game share?
I just sign in under his account, and then switch back to my account, and I could play.
Okay, so he has to. He can't be online at the same time as you, and y'all play together.
He could be online. He just can't play the same game I'm playing. So if he wants to play, let's say if we're playing Call of Duty Cold War, I can't play it if he's playing it. Vice versa. He can't play it if I'm playing it.
Okay.
But he could be signed into his account.
Right.
So, yeah, but other than that, like I said, that's the only thing that I noticed. And then the other night it was working fine. And so I don't know if it was just like, it was a short, brief period. It wasn't like,
I think the reason this maybe got so like talked about is because this is like probably the biggest year for Xbox. Like this has the most, it's like the year with the most people on it. So I think more eyes were noticing on this issue. Whereas like before in the past, like no one even talked about this shit. Like it was down for like maybe a day or two like this, but no one talked about it.
Yeah, no, it wasn't as bad as like when the other what was it, 2011, when the PS4 was out for 28 days when the network was down when it got hacked. So it wasn't that bad. I mean, it was like 2.5
I got
days.
contacted about my credit card being compromised back then.
Yeah, exactly.
That was fun.
Yeah,
I mean, that is a different, like, completely different
No,
issue.
it was,
I mean, Xbox also had all those DDoS attacks, you know, like for a couple of Christmases in a row as well.
But it was just, it wasn't as bad as what like Twitter was putting out there. I think a lot of people that were saying that all this was happening were not. I don't think they were legit.
You're the only one that I know that actually had that bad of an issue.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like you guys were playing. I think Dealer was able to play, but I just had, for some reason, like for me, it was just like that was happening. So I don't
like through all these podcasts, I've probably talked to like 10 different people, and you're the only one that's had major issues. Like I guess Pong said his was minor. So
yeah, I was like, it would just pop up. The game wasn't. I didn't own the game, which was very.
I think that's
odd.
the thing that freaked most people out, because instead of just Xbox Live being down, it was like telling them that they don't own a game that they know they bought, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the other confusing thing is, because I know I've talked to people and they're like, yeah, I couldn't play Forza, I couldn't play this, I couldn't play that. I'm like, well, did you have it in Game Pass? You know, like, because if it's in Game Pass, you don't own it, right? And if the servers are down, you're probably not going to get access to things that you have a subscription to, right? Like if Netflix is down, you're not going to be able to watch movies. You know what I mean? Like if
no, but there's a timer. I believe there was a timer for those games that you could play them offline.
Yeah, I played Halo Infinite.
You have to be disconnected though. You can't be still be connected.
The only reason I was bringing that up, like, I think there's multiple things going on, right? I think there was definitely an issue, right, that Xbox has got to figure out what the hell happened, because they can't have that happen, right? They can't have people trying to launch a game and then it say you don't own it, right? That's just there's an error there that happened. We don't know exactly what caused it, but it's not a whole, like, their policy issue, right? Like people are making it out to be like, oh, Xbox is doing DRM and bad again and all this kind of stuff. Because I think it was a problem, like y'all said, with the validation aspect of it while they're actually online. When they're online, it's not the same as being offline. That's why you were able to get your Xbox to work when you unplugged it, right? You're able to play those games because it's no longer going through that check.
Correct.
Yeah, it should be like you have like a day or two. Like if you go offline, you can still play your game. So I think like the validation was just having an error where it was like you were on, but it's just like it was saying you weren't. Like
exactly. I think that's what the issue was, and that's why a lot of people were getting those. Saying that they didn't own the game,
because you still should have 24 hours to play it.
But then I also think there was some people that didn't actually have that set as their home Xbox, and there's also some people that were trying to play Game Pass games, and then also you had the significant actual issue as well, which is a real issue. Like they need to fix that. They need to figure it out so that doesn't happen again. That's the way they should always treat any of these situations. But I think there's a lot of talk being made about like make it into this big policy issue about DRM when that's really not necessarily the case about what happened, right? At least it doesn't seem like it. From
the whole DRM thing, like I think a lot of people realize when technology, technology progresses, it kind of does make sense to have DRM policies. Now with this whole scenario, and I was reading an article on this, like I think it was yesterday, where the Xbox engineer was basically talking about they need to improve their error messaging. So it seemed to be like what you guys are saying, like it was just pretty much like a licensing error, like something was going on weird there.
I'm thinking they were updating their terms of service for the cloud integration, and they just unchecked a box or something, maybe.
Yeah,
they
do need to
in the background.
I should make it clear that they do need to make sure that is clear, because people already have their misconceptions on DRM as it is, but and you know, they need to be pretty clear on how that all works. Like when Matt was saying, like, is it on your home Xbox with Game Pass and stuff like that? Like basically making that stuff clear, because we'll know. But for people who are just they just bought a Series S from their grandma and they just put it in and they bought some games. It won't be, I don't know why I use that analogy, but it won't necessarily be clear to everyone. So I do think Xbox does need to have better messaging on that side. But at the same time, what I don't agree with is people saying like DRM is evil and all that. I think DRM is here to stay for multiple services, not just, it's just kind of in our future. You know, it's in so many other apps now.
But people make it out like it's only Xbox doing it. It's everybody.
No, it's pretty much
the only
everywhere.
one that doesn't do it is GOG, and that's their whole marketing
Steam
strategy.
does it, PlayStation does it, Xbox does it.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you just need to be smart about like making sure with your DRM policies that the DRM policies that you do put in your system, just to make sure that, you know, they could still play offline, that, you know, all that is still good to go. If anything goes down, they still need to make sure that people can play their games and feel secure in that. But
yeah, it was, but it was, like I said, it wasn't that. It was more blown up on Twitter. Than the real issue, you know. So it's silly. There was not, it wasn't as bad as what a lot of people trying to make it out to be. But
well, I mean, just reading this, Jez Corden from Windows Central had just published an article, and he's talked to a lot of people at Xbox, and they brought onto some stuff, and some stuff came to light. And also seen the chat. The authentication servers went down.
So
that's what the issue.
That makes sense.
So
and that's not DRM issues. I mean, if that goes down,
it's all tied into it in a way, because they have to validate your online licenses, but like the servers, like with the systems, like went down, so it's not supposed to happen. Like it's an error, right? It's not part of the normal procedure, right?
That is something that doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's like your power going out. Like it sucks, but it happens sometimes, you know.
Yeah, it's just
the best that they can do is figure out a backup plan type of thing, if that's even a possibility.
Yeah, like I think Colt Eastwood was saying that they should have like a timer, if you go offline like a day or two for authentication, so you can still play those games offline.
Well, they already have that in place. Like these games that once you load it up in the first place, you're supposed to always be able to play them offline. But like you could play your games offline, right?
Yeah, as long as I disconnect from internet.
Right. So it wasn't an online offline issue. It was when you're online, the validation check because you are online was failing.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not an online offline thing. It's just the servers went. So they need what they need to do is add another step. Okay, what happens if our servers go down? Right. Like, so they need to problem solve that, which they probably didn't have a solution for. Yeah. But I think that's where a lot of confusion is getting made here, and that's why I wanted to bring this up, because I think a lot of people and I know you don't not saying this, Psycho, but like a lot of people are making this what happens if my games if I don't have internet, am I still going to be able to play my games? And that's what the whole conversation I see is about, because that's the conversation we had back in 2013 when this was an issue, when this was being raised out into the public eye about Xbox One and the evil DRM and stuff, and it's rearing its head with this, but it's not the same. It's not the same thing. Those issues that they addressed back then,
that was 24/7,
like
online. You had to stay online 24/7.
Well, it was a 24-hour check-in. They had a 24-hour check-in, like once every 24 hours. if you
They were
didn't,
doing that so you could share your games with your friends.
Right.
Like it was pretty much like
and
it
when
was
that got
whole
like
thing.
canceled and put on the back burner, and they just went to this old system. So now there's clarification. I want to read this from Jez Corden, right? From Windows Central.
Just Corden.
Basically, all right, hold on. I just had it.
Now, was this sober Jez or
This
drunk
is sober
Jez?
Jez. I could tell.
Okay. Just gotta make sure.
Let me see. I just had how the whole system works because he talked to them and got the whole system.
Yeah, because he tweeted while you're looking for it. He tweeted the other day. He was very, very pissed. He's like, this should not be how the this DRM issues. Well, he just went off, and I was like, well, a couple people were like, yeah, but if you disconnect the Xbox and go offline, you're able to play it. So there's something else the matter here, and I think then he got a hold of somebody at Xbox, and you're about to read it, and he's gonna explain. And you're gonna explain what he found out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Here we go. All right, I found it. In a conversation with Ashley McKissick, Xbox CVP for gaming experiences and platforms, he discovered a little bit more about how the game licenses work on the console. Okay, in order to receive an offline license for a digital game, which lasts forever on Xbox consoles once downloaded. So basically, all you have to do is launch the game at least one time. After you launch the game one time while being online, at that point, you will always be able to play that game offline, right? That's how the license is intended to work. You have to have launched the game at least once. Now, in the case of disc-based games, McKissick confirmed that these pull the license straight from the disc itself. Okay. However, some users may have found that running backward-compatible Xbox One games, which I've heard as well, Xbox One or Xbox
360,
like Xbox 360 games on an Xbox One or Xbox Series X, right, may have still failed to launch from the disc during this outage, since they needed to pull down some compatibility settings on the first load, which is what I heard from NLG, our friend Mike Mullins over there from NLG. He had just gotten a case of back compat games, and he couldn't play any of them. So he was like, what the hell's going on? So this affected him because it was his first load, right? They couldn't pull the compatibility settings because of the authentication process, right? So this affected multiple people in different ways. It affected me like none, really. I had to restart my Xbox once they fixed the issues. That's my only thing. Kate was able to play all of her games, so it doesn't seem like all of the authentication servers were down. It seems like maybe like some of them, and I don't know what, like, if it only affected some games, affected like some games in certain regions, or whatever it is. But the way that it's structured and the way that it's supposed to work, I have no issues with, right? Like, I don't know if anybody would really have issues with that. You know what I mean? Like, okay, you just got to load the game up once, and then you can always play it offline, and those kind of things. It just seems like there was a failure in the system, right? Which you can't, like, I don't know. Like, if you have a big technical thing going on, and I'm not trying to damage control, right? Like, first off, it wasn't a huge deal to begin with, but I'm not trying to damage control this small issue, right? It seems to me that if you're a huge company that has all of these bells and whistles and all these things going on, sometimes something happens, right? And sometimes
it's like the power going out.
Right?
Sometimes shit happens.
Sometimes your internet goes out. Sometimes things happen, and if they have a bunch of servers go down, it's going to affect things. And it doesn't necessarily mean you need a whole policy change on DRM. It just means maybe you need to figure out a fail-safe in case those servers go down, right? Like, it's just put the scale of the issue where it is, instead of damning the digital future of gaming because of some people that weren't able to play some games over the course of one weekend, right? Like, because like what are the ramifications? We want all of our games always to be offline. You know what I mean? Like, and not have to be able to do all these other things we could do.
Go buy a 360.
Like, I just, you know what I mean? I think people are like just a little upset when they saw that message coming up that they don't own the game, and it kind of sent them into like a little bit of like a panic, like, oh, this sucks, DRM thing. I don't know. Fuzzy.
I mean, even if you had a disc, you couldn't play it, so it doesn't really matter.
Right.
Well, but a lot of people have gone all digital. Like ever since 2016, I think the only disc-based games I bought were a couple of PlayStation ones, which were for PS4, which I now can put in my PS5. But I think the big thing is they probably should have almost like a backup for the backup of the backup type of thing, which is kind of hard to predict on exactly what's going to fail. Like it sounds like, and from what I've remember hearing before, as far as DRM is concerned, they already had a plan in place where if their servers go down, you can play it offline and not have any issue. But there's like a stopgap or something that like you guys are saying, the authentication server is the one that went down, and that one seems to be probably the more important one that they could probably overlook, like a workaround or something like that. And I have to give a shout out to the TXR podcast with Shockley and Centurion. They came up with an idea that sounds feasible. I don't know if it would work quite as well, but considering how, like, when you go to sign in to Twitch or like Discord or things like that, where you have like the two-step verification and you usually have to bring up that secondary app. Well, we already have the Xbox app. Why not have something there where if something like this should happen, there's some sort of code generated through the app, and since the thing is going to be connected either to your console via Bluetooth or your in-home Wi-Fi, that would be like a fail-safe key, even if it's only for 28 or 24 hours or 48 hours or something like that, just in case, once again, the authentication servers go down in 2 years or 6 years or 60 years or whatever the case may be. Have some sort of plan in place where if that should happen, your Xbox app or some sort of authentication thing, which I think even Microsoft has their own like authentication app, have that be like the unlock for at least a 24 to 48 hour period while they get their stuff together on their end. That's all. I mean, I was lucky. 3 Xboxes in the house, 3 gaming PCs. Not a one had an issue. Not on a Game Pass game. Not on a game we own. Not on a games with gold. None of that. All of them digital. No issues. I even tried to see if I could make some issues, and everything loaded up without any problems. So I was lucky. So
I've been going digital since 2014, so I didn't have any problems either.
I haven't tried a physical game my Series X. I think I've tried it once.
Yeah.
I haven't gone physical. Probably the last physical was Division 2. I bought the $120 Legend Ultimate Edition one.
Oh, I guess I got Halo 5, but I never played the disc because it was on. So
the last Xbox disc I have is the original Forza Horizon, which is still in my Series X. That stays in there.
Yeah.
Which I guess they put it back in the store recently too. But that. And I still have my Mad Max disc from when I first got it for Xbox One. But I that was like the first game I played that was a back compat game on the Series X because I wanted to see the auto HDR in effect on Mad Max. But
with at least with Xbox going full digital, you have quick resume, which makes that so much nicer, being able to jump between games. Like if you want, like I was playing.
It's also not like Nintendo where it locks your digital purchases to a console and then you have to fucking recover your account or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah, so it's just nice to jump around.
Yeah.
No, but I would say I've had issues before where I've had that error message where you don't own the game type of thing. And I would say since I've been an Xbox player, I've had that twice since 2014. And each time it's when they did some sort of major change to Game Pass. the first one was when they went from regular Game Pass to offering Game Pass Ultimate, and then I think it was the next time was when they started dropping. It was either Forza Horizon 4 or a couple of other first party things, like I think one of the Gears games, and it did that for like a day, or not even a day. It was like an hour or so, and I think I had actually purchased Gears of War 5 directly. Or no, I purchased Gears of War 4 directly, and then when it went into Game Pass, it was like, oh no, you don't own it. And I'm like, what's going on here? But I'm wondering if they're like Jasper was saying earlier, if somebody did something in the background, forgot to check a box or whatever. We know that the family plan thing is happening, and I kind of predicted that if something like this is going on with their servers,
they're probably
like that,
updating something on the back end and mess something up.
Yeah, so they're probably getting the groundwork either for family plan or maybe the whole xCloud thing, but whatever it is, somebody didn't cross all the T's or dot all the I's or whatever the case was.
Yeah,
something happened. You could be right about the whole family plan, because aren't we supposed to get more information about that like this summer, right?
Yeah.
So maybe they're around June they're going to announce
maybe
something
before the show or something.
Yeah, and then have that launch. So they could be getting things ready, testing things or whatever. But like, bottom line is it's resolved, right?
Yeah.
So 3-bit, like, I want to know your overall. Just tell me, big deal, not big deal.
I'm mixed. Like I do think it was a problem.
Right.
It was definitely. I don't want to mitigate.
Yeah, 100%.
The fact that it was a problem and people, got that error message. But I also think as we get further into technology in our digital future, we're gonna eventually run into some issues like this, and there's a way to authenticate your games being always online. It's just going to be a thing. I don't know. That's why I'm kind of mixed on it. I do think it was an issue, but at the same time, I don't think it's too big of a deal.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's definitely an issue because something went wrong, right? Something went wrong.
Yeah.
The system did not operate as intended, right? It's not necessarily a problem with the idea behind the system. For me, like if you read everything that the way the system's intended to work, it should be fine. But there was an error because systems went down. So when that happens, things don't operate necessarily as intended. So for me, they need to figure out a fail-safe if that happens. Now you realize the problem. Okay, this is going to cause this issue if this happens, and we can't have that. So now you figure out what's a step they can take to make a fail-safe if that ever happens again. So that's kind of where I would.
Yeah, it probably brought up some things to light for the team, and
you learn from it, right?
The people were very critical of them in 2013. Mm-hmm. Was it 2013? And so it's a sensitive topic for a lot of people who basically left Xbox ever since that date. And maybe they're just, Xbox getting all this good PR and this happened. They're like, aha, see? Yeah.
It's just because more people are in the ecosystem and it's a high for Xbox right now. I think more eyes were on it. It's just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I hope they figure out a solution.
Trying to have a hot gotcha moment.
Yeah. I mean, this hasn't happened since that kind of outage. It's the first time I've seen that. It's usually Xbox Live is down, right?
And usually party doesn't work for like a couple hours. And then it's like
parties or the store doesn't work. Something not as bad, but this was just a higher level because it affected more people than what it normally affects. So it's like,
see, for me, I almost feel like it affected less people, but because like when Xbox Live's down, it affects everybody, right? But with this, it affected like some people in different ways.
Yeah, it's just because like normally when Xbox Live is down, the party's down, but you can still play your game. This you just couldn't even play your game, so it's just like
Right, that's the issue. People couldn't play
Yeah.
their game, and it was like,
Well-
what the hell, And that's the level. I think the level of how it affected them is different. When Xbox Live's down, shit, I can't talk to people, I can't do this. But when this happened, they couldn't play their game. So like the importance of it is like, shit, I'm a game addict, and I can't play my damn game, and I bought it. I want my game. I spent $60 on this yesterday. You piece of shit. Give me my game. And that's what they're feeling internally when this happened. And Psycho was feeling the same thing. He's like, "Fuck you, man, fucking," and he's like, ripped the Xbox. He ripped the internet cord out of it. He's like, "Oh my god, it's working, magic." No internet. I found a failsafe. Unplug your internet. No issue anymore.
Well, that was the thing, because when I was living in Ohio and there was a bad snowstorm and my internet was knocked out, I just disconnected my Xbox because I was like, I'm not connected to the internet and I was able to play my games, and that's why I remembered, like, oh shit, let me disconnect the Xbox, and it worked, and I was like, all right, this is the thing. And I put it out there, but people are like, oh no, it's fucking this DRM Xbox. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Right. Because if you go offline, that's what the whole DRM thing's for. Like, like you're able to play your games offline. So
yeah,
that just it's not the issue that people are making it into. It's a different issue.
Oh,
right.
Yeah. And but a lot of the narrative out there was just like, oh, Xbox didn't get rid of, and they're trying to bring back the 2013 whole DRM thing. I'm like, that is not the same fucking thing that is happening right now. Quit this nonsense.
Yeah.
Well,
and just let
I'm
Xbox.
sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, let Xbox come out and address this before you start jumping to conclusions and make this whole narrative up, and then you look like a freaking idiot on the internet. Like, oh, that's not what happened. What are you gonna do? Backtrack? No. So it's just calm down. Were you gonna say, Fuzzy?
I was gonna say, did the number one celebrity Xbox fan make a post on Twitter about it being down or having any issues?
Oh,
who's that?
Schreier?
Snoop.
Schreier?
The Snoop Dogg?
Oh,
I don't know.
Because it must not have been as widespread, considering, like, I think the last time we had an outage, which was like, what, 3 or 4 years ago or something.
Yeah, it's been a while.
He was like, Xbox, get your shit together. And he was like telling them, I'm going to get another console if you guys keep messing up. But yeah, I didn't see anything from him on this. I mean, I know he's busy doing other stuff, but typically if something is like widespread bad, he'll make a post about it or something, but I didn't see anything about it from him. So
yeah, no, I didn't see Snoop Dogg say, or really, like I said, it wasn't like a widespread outcry. It was just like accounts I've never seen before and certain other side of fanboys just making the loudest noise, and I'm like,
right.
It was like I wouldn't say it wasn't a non-issue, but it was not something to get this upset about, especially once you, like, if you're having that issue and you disconnect from the internet, then you're like, oh shit, I could play.
A lot of people just need to learn patience, young Padawan.
Well, that's one thing people don't have. They need their shit working right this second, right now, and someone needs to fix it because they need the fucking game. God damn it!
I just think like overall we need to address the actual issue, not create a different one, right?
Exactly.
And that's like people have tended to make this into a bigger issue or a different issue than it is. When really the issue was that when they're connected to online, that the authentication servers went down and that it wasn't validating stuff properly.
That was an issue.
So that's an issue.
They
need to fix it.
Right.
Yeah,
like they need to make sure that, like, we know that it was an authentication issue. They need to, make sure if it ever goes down again that they have a proper error code, because I don't even think there was a proper error code for that.
Maybe I just don't care enough about it, because like I've been with Xbox for almost 20 years now, and I've seen like DDoS attacks on Xbox where you can't play your game for a couple of days. So I'm just like, it's happened before.
I think that
once, it's just like,
now if Xbox did come out, if they knew there was this authentication issue. If they came out when they started noticing it and said, "Hey, we're having this issue with the servers. If you disconnect from the internet, you can still play your games as long as if you launched it prior where you're still connected at some point, you won't have an issue." If they came out and addressed it, there wouldn't be a lot of the noise.
Yeah, but you can't play
No
Call of Duty
one,
offline.
but but you can play a lot of your single campaigns and things like that. But that was a lot of that could have stopped a lot of this the noise that was happening. Like, that's the thing. Like, Xbox is good at some things, but when it comes to sometimes when they come to their PR or their messaging, they're not vocal enough. It's like you're vocal at some things, but things like this, it's like you should have came out and said, "Hey, whoa," like Xbox support should have came out and said. And
if you go to serverstatus.com or Xbox server status, it tells you like they make posts like every 6 hours or so.
But if they needed to just go on social
I do
media,
agree with that, but I also think Xbox is the most vocal out of at least PlayStation. They don't communicate with their community at all.
Dark for 6 months during the PlayStation 3.
Like we hold Xbox to like a certain standard with certain things, and that's fine, because we do like how
3-bit more vocal.
I know because Aaron Greenberg's like tweeting people and whatnot. I just like I think we have to be fair with like when they do have issues, make sure they call them out and call it a day. And I'm mixed on this because like what Jasper saying, like I personally didn't experience any issues, and I know a lot of people didn't. And I know people like to blow situations like this up into a bigger thing than it is, like DRM policies, like all this whole thing is about DRM, and look what Xbox did in 2013. They promised, they get into this whole spiel. And I don't think it's that big of a deal in that case. Like, I think DRM is here to stay. It's in almost every service. It's just you could still play your games offline, so that's not the situation. I literally think it was the authentication thing. They needed to make sure, like, if that happens, they have a proper error code to say what happens, not like, oh, you don't own any of your games. That's pretty much that's pretty much what ended up happening. Is the error messaging, instead of just saying like, oh, our authentication app is down, error code 004, whatever, it was basically saying you don't own any of your games, and that freaked people out. That would freak me out, honestly. I try to play my, like, what the heck, but that wasn't the case. And now that it's happened, they can correct it. It's like it was an issue. You have to notice that it was an issue, but now it's been mentioned by the engineer. They're like, hey, it was just like probably just a little error code. And we get small server glitches. It's gonna happen. I mean, it's technology. They have millions, billions of dollars invested in the cloud and server infrastructure, and it's usually pretty stable compared to other consoles. But occasionally it will fail, and it did this one time.
That's when you learn from your mistakes. You can't just you gotta have mistakes to learn from to make it better.
Yeah. So now they know if it ever goes down again, they could just have a code ready, an error code. It kind of goes in their log of situations.
This is how you fix this issue if it happens again.
Exactly. Yeah. So I doubt it happen again. But
that's why I was just saying that they just need to be a little bit more vocal when things happen, because if you're new to the Xbox ecosystem, some people don't know to go to the Xbox.com to look at the service updates. We all do, because we've been through all this throughout. We've been gaming for 20 plus years on Xbox. So when new people come in, they're not used.
Yeah, and that's where I was.
They
saying,
don't know.
Like, Xbox is at its highest, and that's why you're seeing it more.
Yeah,
and that's why I wish they just came out a little bit more and kind of jumped on it and addressed it and said, hey, it's. We understand this, and this is what you need to do, and so on. And then,
that's true.
Or just say, hey, check out the server. This Xbox.com service update, server update, blah blah blah. If you need more info of what's going on, to let people know, so they know where to go if issues happen. So like, oh, that's cool because other consoles like Steam or Epic and Xbox, they kind of come out and say, hey, we have issues, but that's about it. I really don't see Nintendo coming out saying, hey, there's any issues.
Because Nintendo, you can't even tell if you're online or offline. It's just
or Sony, and Sony only comes out when people start yelling and like, oh yeah, we know, sorry, we'll let you know, and then months go by.
Yeah, I agree. They should have definitely did that.
Yeah. As far as I saw, like scatolites or scatolites said in the
Skittles,
scatolites said in the chat, home Xbox should not be needed for offline mode. But then there's a reason why they have that. So the way I understand it, like the licensing when it's your home Xbox can be tied to your Xbox and not necessarily your account, because if you're offline, then anybody can play on that console, right? Like I could not even be signed in. Like somebody else can play on that console. So it's attached to the console itself for those licenses. And so there's like a hardware validation. But if you were to do that for every console, like then you could just sign in once, install all your games, and then sell your console off with your games installed. And you know what I mean?
Yeah, can't see that being a good thing.
There's got to be some kind of way that they can, to get around that. And the home Xbox thing is something that's worked for a long time now. Like that hasn't been an issue.
No,
up until this moment when they had an error and the authentication server went down, right? So as far as game share, we all use that home Xbox properly. That's not really what it's intended for, to game share, right? A lot of us do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when we have I have my home Xbox is downstairs where Kate plays most of the time, because that way I buy my games and then she gets to play them, and then I can play them because I'm signed in on the device I'm actually on. Right?
You don't have to buy the same game twice.
But then she can play the game with me, right? Because because that's my home Xbox, so she can be online. I only have to buy the game once, and we can both play it, right? Yep. So that's why we have it set that way. Now, the detriment to that, because I'm using the system for game sharing, right, is if I'm not signed into Xbox Live, I can't play my games here unless I'm playing them off, unless I go to my home Xbox, right? So I can go to my home Xbox and play them when they're offline. The issue here was authentication servers went down, so if it had affected me, I wouldn't have been able to play my games no matter what, right?
How many people have multiple Xboxes that they even need to set up a home console? Like,
well, that's the thing. If you only have one, then you game share with somebody sometimes that's not in your house, right? And that becomes even more of a problem if this were to happen. You know what I mean? Because like if Xbox Live goes down and all your games are tied to somebody else's account, you're pretty much screwed. You can't play anything.
Because when I was living with my ex, I had an Xbox One X in the living room. I had a VCR Xbox in the basement, and then her kids had the Xbox One X or One S in both the rooms. So this way, if we're playing, like downstairs because someone wanted to watch TV, we're able to, play the games.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, most people probably don't have 4 Xboxes, so it's like,
well, game share is only a good solution, or a home Xbox only a good solution if you have 2. Once you have 3, it's like that system doesn't work anymore. That's why I wanted them to have a family plan for so long, right?
Yeah. But you have to have a family plan, because my downstairs Xbox is my home, and then this way I was able to log in. So this way 2 people can play on the Xbox, one downstairs and shit like that on the same game.
I mean, why wouldn't you do a home thing? It takes like 2 seconds. I don't know.
Well, a lot of people, like, if you have multiple Xboxes, right, and you trade in a console, you may have forgot that the one you traded in was your home Xbox, and they forget to change it to the one that they have as well. So it's important to make sure your primary Xbox is set as your home Xbox. It's not just it's the one I play on all the time, so it's my home Xbox. That's not the way not the way it works. It's actually a setting you have to set. Now, from what I understand, like somebody told me in the chat, like when you upgrade from like Xbox One to Xbox Series, it asks you,
Yeah,
right? But if that only does that one time, and if you're like, I think
just
still
trying to skip through the settings to set it up.
yeah, if you're like going through multiple like I have some Xbox Ones, I have a couple Series S's, I have a Series X, so it's like, it's hard to keep track of what's set as your home Xbox. So some people may not realize that the one that they sold to their friend or the one that they traded in maybe last week was their home Xbox. But anyway, yeah, there could be better solutions, but we'll see. If I see that Decado says a DRM could be tied to email account to Xbox, but still have critical points of failure, redundancy check. Yeah, even if it's tied to an email account, you still got to sign into the email. You know what I mean? Like, so even that, I don't know 100% how that would work, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, let's move on past this. We got
Good topic.
Yeah.
Before you do, Xbox support released a tweet like 10 minutes ago.
Oh yeah.
Saying.
Let me show that to you guys.
It's not an official thing unless it comes from Phil himself.
It's on Xbox
Yes,
support page, or was it?
I don't know.
You're the one that brought it up.
Last tweet I see from Xbox support was 8 hours ago, but they tweeted a lot during the whole issue.
I put it in our DMs.
That's from 12 hours ago, 3-bit.
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
No, this is AM. 10:32 AM. 3-bit.
Yeah, I see it now.
Okay. Anyway, yeah. So, hey, let's move into the Division 2. Is finally now getting new content. Now, what happened was they had planned to cease support for Division 2, right? They released the next gen update about a year and a half ago, and all of a sudden they saw an influx of players thanks to Psychonauts and Pong Soul and I and Steel Rain, making the whole community buy this game again because we just couldn't stop playing it, and they were talking about it and raving about it. And seriously, like the game like got a whole new life for us though, and a lot of people in the community started getting back into this game, and it tended to be a trend across all of gaming, I guess, because guess what? All of a sudden they come out and they say, hey, we had planned on stopping support for this, but because of the amazing community and people coming back into this, we're going to continue support for it. So what they ended up doing in the meantime, because I guess the team, they had already been broken up and people went to go work on different projects, they didn't have a whole team to work on this game. So what they did is they kind of rehashed for a year, they rehashed the content that had already existed with revolving seasons, like they did season 1, 3, 4, and then 2 again, right? With a little bit of differences with it, but primarily just rehashing those seasons. And then now, after a year and a half, and they've finally gotten a new team that has had time to really get situated and get the development processes going and get a pipeline going, we are getting a season 9 with the Division 2. And this is also the start of future things to come. This is not just about this season. They brought the studio in to do long-term support for this game and continue multiple seasons after this as well. So we're going to see new storefront content. We're going to see new battle passes, new level, new 100 tier battle passes. You're going to have new storylines and new storyline missions and stuff with this as well. So everything that we got to expect with the past seasons of the Division 2, we're going to be able to potentially expect in all these new seasons coming forward. So after like a year and a half hiatus, Division 2 potentially could grab a brand new audience, especially with how it plays on Series X and PS5. Those next gen updates were fire. So is anybody here excited to maybe dive back into Division 2?
I did today.
Yeah. I think we're all fans except for 3-bit. 3-bit just falls asleep when he tries to play that game.
Yeah. No, he tries to, but he blames blames us that we didn't invite him.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's the truth. I don't know what you want me to say.
Now we got season 9 coming. All right, 3-bit. You gonna come? Are you gonna play with us? See, there you go.
That's what happens.
I'll play with you guys. So what is in the new season?
So I don't know. I have the list of at least what is coming in May, June, and July.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. Go for it, Psycho.
So in May 10th, we got Target Casilo.
That's tomorrow.
And then Casilo League is May 17th. And then the Polarity Switch Global event is May 24th. And Fairview Crew Apparel event is May 24th.
What is this? Oh, you're still going.
No, there's more. So that's and then one more. And then Target Daniels is May 31st.
So those are those are timed events that are happening throughout, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So what is a Target event?
So Target event is there's a target that you have to go after. So in the Division 2, there's certain
they're like rogue agents.
Yeah, there's certain outposts and things you got to complete to go after the targets. So it'll be like one. There's a target, and then usually like 4 agents with them, and then you go, and then you figure out where all the intel that you have to get from each of these agents to find out who the target and what he's trying to do. So it's like this whole. So you play throughout all the maps. So you get all different positions. So like the White House or the Washington Memorial and Lincoln Memorial, things like that. So so that's what the targets are. So the target is a person you have to find out who it is and then get the intel for that. League, I think League's a new thing, if I am not mistaken, Fuzzy, because I don't remember leagues, so I'm not sure what the League is.
I believe Leagues is something new, but I only watched like the tail end of the the actual unveiling, where they're doing the whole nuclear power plant stuff. But the Leagues, I want to say it's something similar to how they had the shepherds and stuff like that, where you can basically carry a team or help out a team. But I think you also wind up getting a certain amount of points by completing certain things that you can turn into like that front desk. I believe that's what that's part of.
Is there a new location to like walk around shit or
new areas?
I think just for the for the map for the plant.
Okay.
Yeah. So
and all this content's free, right? You don't have to pay for it, or
the content's free, but you got to pay for the battle pass if you want the battle pass.
And the battle pass is just skins and camos and stuff like
some
that.
Pretty badass shit.
Yeah.
You get a few name weapons as well. Things, or name gear.
No, I don't think there's any.
There's 100 level battle pass, right? So you can max that out. So
unless they do have exotics.
There's also a new mode called Countdown. And it says it's like a co-op mode, and you have 8 players. You get 15 minutes to stabilize a plant to prevent a lockdown.
That's kind of like the raid.
Right. It says the agents deployed in 2 teams of 4 will start at different locations on the map and must work together to overcome the challenge. The division will be confronted by some familiar foes and will have to fend them off to secure the plant, then call for extraction before the time runs out. So maybe it's like a race between the 2 teams, or it's like you're all working together. I'm not sure. 100%.
Yeah, that's like the Iron. I think Iron.
Is max level still 40?
Iron Horse.
Yeah.
Raid. Or I think it was the Iron Horse raid. It was 2 teams of 4. I think it was me, you, Mav, Pong, and a couple of the members of the community, and we tried to do one of the raids, and we were just stuck. It was in the airport, and it was with the machine gun. I think Fuzzy was there
that was
too.
hard. That was a bitch.
Yeah,
The turrets, and so I was like,
once I get my guy up to 40, I'm gonna start mid-maxing, and then you can just put me in, and I'll carry you through it.
Well, the once you hit 40, that's like the start of the leveling system.
Yeah, because you gotta get your watch level up. Like my watch level is already 1143, so
I gotta
I'm
buy
like
a Rolex.
Well, there's
plus.
the main thing with division is your equipment level and your shade level and stuff. Like your 40 is just like irrelevant at that point, because at that point you're like, it's all about the equipment that you get and how much. It's kind of like Destiny in that way, right? Like the equipment has more to do with your characters.
So is there like a
ratings than anything else?
Like I guess Borderlands would be kind of like there's a gear number. Like once you get 40, like gear drops are like, let's say 200, but like the more like you get all your gear 200, you start getting like 201 drops, 202 drops, and like you increase your gear score like that.
No, like they did away with the gear score number. That's for like before the New York DLC that they did. What they did was when you go after Keener, you now have this special watch that gives you that like shade number or shade tech after you complete a certain amount of things. So like each time you would normally get like I think it's a cash, you get one like skill point to like 5 things on your watch. One of them is just like resource stuff, and then one is going to be like your offensive stuff, one's going to be defensive stuff, another one's going to be like your tech stuff, and then I think the other one's like your heal stuff. And then basically you have to do that like 500 times or something like that, I think, to be able to get each one of those like to like 10% or something along those lines.
Because I just started playing today. Like I stopped at level 19 when I played, and I was like so under leveled for like the main missions that were out, because like my main mission was like level 24 requirement, and I was level 19, so I was just getting destroyed playing solo. And every time I match make, it would take like 10 minutes, and I wouldn't find anyone, so I just like stopped playing the game.
Yeah.
It's you all have to join up to our or Pong's crew and or clan, I should say, and then this way you can probably get some people.
Yeah, we have a pretty cool clan there called I think it's called Split Screen, Living Split Screen. It was like a before Living Split Screen existed.
Yeah, it was Split Screen Gamers. It was SSG.
Yeah, SSG. Yeah, so we'll send you a clan invite.
Yeah, like today, like I noticed when I got on, like I haven't played in so long. There's so much like, I guess they're like phones everywhere. They're like collectibles, and I found like 15 phones in the campus region. So I got like a whole level just walking around there.
Have you done the New York DLC yet?
No.
You need to get that done. Like you need to get that done, because once you get through that, then it'll open up everything else for you, right?
So is it like a whole new map? Or?
Yeah, New York's a whole nother map. Yeah.
Is that
it takes you back to New York.
No, that was an expansion. But they've had it on sale for like ridiculously cheap at times. Like it was like a few bucks. I don't know how much it is right now, but I would bet it's going to go on sale before this is active. But I would highly recommend getting New York, because it's like kind of makes it like Division 1-ish, right? And
I think it might be free to play for the next 30 days or something like that.
Yeah.
The 13th through the 15th, it's free to play.
Okay. Yeah, it's highly. I mean, I highly recommend that DLC anyway. It's really good, right? Like,
yeah, 13th. I was in the same boat as you, buddy. I'm like, what the heck is this game?
So I'll post this to you, Mav.
So it was actually really fun.
Yeah, I have a whole thing here. So, here's basically a breakdown of everything it includes, right? So we got 5 new targets to take down: Major Castillo, Sergeant Daniels, Lieutenant Chang, Major Xander, and the prime target is Captain Lewis. So first off, you have to complete all the other 4 lieutenants, and then you can take out Captain Lewis. Okay, so those other ones come in stages, right? So once you take out the last one, then we can take out Captain Lewis. Also, there's going to be a new feature called Expertise, where you're going to be able to upgrade your equipment to higher power by using it in combat or investing resources into research items, and researching them. Then there's 2 new apparel events. So you earn or purchase keys with premium credits to obtain new apparel. So you earn credits, and you can get some like rare like apparel type of stuff. Then you have Season 9 Pass. It grants additional rewards for each level reached, which includes season and exotic caches. Exotic caches are awesome. That's where you get a lot of your good gear.
Ooh, legendaries.
And yeah, crafting materials, cosmetic items, and the new season outfit. Then there's the 4 leagues. It says prove your status as an agent by raising through the ranks in various activities and earn additional rewards. So there's the Castillo League, the Daniels League, the Cheng League, and the Xander League, and those coincide with when the lieutenants are available, right? So they're kind of around that same time. Then we got 6 global events. Opt in for global modifiers that apply to the entire game and get rewarded for completing challenges. We got Polarity Switch, Guardians, SHD Exposed, Hollywood, Golden Bullet, and Reanimated. So these are all separate events. Then you got the countdown mode, right? The expertise system is a whole new way of upgrading things. So they're adding on to that. Then we're going to have new gear, new weapons and gear, including a Heartbreaker gear set, a new exotic and named items, and more. And a specialization revamp. This was originally, they said, planned for Title Update 15 and had the goal to change how you approach the specializations. The goal with the specializations revamp is that choices in the specialization tree are meaningful.
I'm still here.
And have an impact on your play style. Some choices also lock other trees, and you have to select how you want to play and what your role is. So they're trying to, I guess, make the characters more varied, and independent, right? By making more difficult choices with that. They worked hard on this feature, but it was just not ready for Title Update 15, and that is why they pushed it back to later update. But as mentioned, Title TU 15 is the first drop. More content will come down the road with a smaller team. They also have to be smart what they do, what they change, and what they add. So I'm unclear. That was not actually part of this title update or not, because this is originally planned, but this is going to be later on. Later on throughout this, I think we're going to get the specialization revamp.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then they're also at some point, they are not looking into adding crossplay at the moment. Yeah, so this is something that they are currently not looking into. There are no plans to add further paid DLC either. This is a smaller team, so they're being smart about what they can tackle, right? The PTS crashes have been fixed and addressed, and they hope that deltas had happened during the PTS should be fixed. I'm not sure what that is. As for live game crashes, they plan to address that in the next update. Storage increase. They have pushed the stash and inventory to the maximum they are comfortable with the last increase, and as of the moment, there are no further plans to increase that. Okay. They were asked, will there be a focus on PvP? They said that no, there's a passionate PvP community out there, but the current team they have is specialized on PvE content. So there's no extra content planned for more PvP.
For the Dark Zone.
Right. And then new skill and new skill variants.
Damn.
Season 9 will not add a new skill variant. There are already many skill variants in the game. Maybe they'll add more in the future, but at the moment they want to focus on the ones that are already in the game.
Okay.
And this says, will you add more map locations? Countdown is essentially a new map location. Map expansion Warlords are not the plan at the moment.
So is this like a small map or like?
The Countdown, I think, is probably a smaller thing. Yeah.
Like kind of like the Liberty Island, like that size.
All the other seasons reutilize the same map, right? But New York makes it bigger. So you have like Washington and New York, right? So you have
well, they added like White Oak, and they added a couple other like mini maps that you have to access through the large. So when you go to the map, then you can see like at the top and at the bottom, you have like White Oak and a couple other different the Pentagon,
the zoo.
Like that. Yeah, so this way you can. It's like map add-ons, but it's not the main map.
You're not running down like 15
DC.
city streets.
Right.
Yeah, if it's not in DC, they added like a icon you have to fly a helicopter to, and I think that the only way you could get to the helicopter is once you beat the game. Once you get to 40, and then you can get in a helicopter and go to these places.
All right, guys.
So we'll have to get Jasper up.
Yeah. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna make sure it's installed because I want to get back into this. Honestly,
I wish the one thing that I kind of wish they brought back from Division 1 was exotic weapon and an exotic gear set that you can use instead of one or the other. It's a little selfish of me, but I don't like
It's a shellfish of you.
either shellfish of me. I don't like that either you could use an exotic weapon or have an exotic piece of clothing. That's like better than legendary in Division, Jasper. So there's legendary, and then you have an exotic.
Yeah, the exotics are insane. Like I have an LMG that doesn't run out of ammo. Like you just gold
is exotic, right? Or is that legendary?
It's like
it's
orange, like right,
reddish orange.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Those are hard. Those don't come often. You could do a couple things to get an exotic cachet, but who was it? Was it you, Mev? Or it was you.
I was getting exotics out the ass, man. It was great.
Yeah, me and Pong would be like, "Oh, I just got a yellow." And Mev's like, "I got another exotic." Like,
yeah, I don't know. I was having a great time getting those damn exotics. But like they have like one of every like weapon variant or one or two. I can't remember how many they had, but they had like one or two of each weapon variant. So like, there was like an LMG, like you keep going, and at different times they would be more likely to get exotic LMG drops in certain areas. So you go to that area, and then maybe you're gonna have a better chance of getting the exotic because they're dropping more LMGs over there. You know, but yeah, that LMG is nuts, man. You don't have to reload it. You just like it's insane.
Anyway, like the way I've been playing is I have like sniper rifle. Like I'm going like high damage, but like I get like hit twice, I'm fucked. So like I'm like running snipers like one headshot in them. Like,
that's why it's like an amazing game to play with a 4-player squad, right? Or is it 3-player? I can't even remember. It's 4-player, right?
I'm the hybrid.
No, it's 4. It's 4.
Okay, yeah, because you have everybody has different abilities.
I'm the tech healer,
and you can like set stuff to help each other out. It really works in balance as well. So you know your character plus you got the guy that's like just unloading endless amount of bullets, keeping the guys like at bay, and then like you have your tech guys. You know, I think Pong had his guy was doing massive damage with drones. You know, so they have like drones go out and it's just like
he was a level 6. Yeah, he was a level 6 tech with Reviver, and I was a level 5 tech with healing. So he would I would heal and he would revive somebody who would be down. So
yeah, it was the way I have it is like I have a little like ball that shoots out fireflies or some shit. That's like my defensive ability. So like if they get close and rush me while I'm sniping, it kind of like stuns them, and I have my drone that flies around me and like also protects me.
Right. Kate says, Steve. What's up, Steve?
Is Steve? Beef?
Steve.
Thieved?
Steve.
Steve.
All right, so hey guys, that's enough Division talk. I'm excited. I want to play. I guess it launches tomorrow. Is that what they said?
The 12th.
The 12th. Okay. So the 12th.
I'm going to be playing it tonight, though.
Let's go. Yeah, I'm gonna get my feet wet a little bit. You know. All right. So let's see here.
Is it the 12th? Twitch drops is 12th, but that one photo.
I thought he said his target was the 10th. I thought that's what Psycho said.
Yeah, target Castillo was May 10th. It starts.
Yeah.
So if you already have it, so the targets are available, but the item drops, new weapon gears, and everything doesn't probably start till the 12th.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
it'd be weird if they had rolled it out in stages like that, but yeah, we'll see. But regardless, within the next day or two or 3, it'll be there. So check that out. Division 2.
It'll be starting now.
And then the cool thing is knowing that it's going to be a season 10 and a season 11 and a season 12 now, right? Like it's no longer like, oh, this was cool to get back into, and now there's not going to be any content for your right. So
yeah.
All right. Moving into tidbits. So we're going to try and do a short tidbits, guys. There's not a lot of games coming out, so let's have some tidbits. All right. This is tidbits. This is the segment where we go and we look at the games coming out for the next week or so. And now this is according to Game Informer's website. Okay. So this is not necessarily reflective of the actual number of games because there has been some that are missed before. However, this is a pretty good barometer for the at least the bigger games coming out, which some of these are definitely not that. But we got like 5 games here to check out.
Yeah, there's only one I haven't heard of. So
yeah. We're gonna start off with Eiyuden Chronicles Rising, coming out tomorrow on the Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, and PC. This is also releasing into Game Pass. So we're gonna watch a trailer for that, if I can figure out how to do that. Here we go. Eiyuden Chronicles Rising trailer.
May 10th.
Look at that fire game.
Wow.
Oh, it's got a double jump. This is a setup game to Eiyuden Chronicles 100 Heroes. I already know who I'm going to play as.
Don't you play a solo?
Probably. But I've really focused on Garou. Yeah, Chris knows all about this stuff. Yeah, he's a big time looking forward to this game. And also, Eiyuden Chronicles 100 Heroes for sure. So, all right. I saw the platforms it's releasing on, but I guess the date for the Xbox one was sooner than some of the others.
Look at the Xbox showing first and then PlayStation last.
Yeah, they have. They've definitely been forward with the Xbox marketing.
That's interesting. Usually, like, this is a Japanese game.
Yes,
Yeah.
It started off as a Kickstarter.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually a lot of Japanese games are synonymous with the PlayStation, so it's kind of cool that Xbox is getting its thing. I don't know much about this game. Every time I hear about how do you even say it?
Eiyuden Chronicles. This is like a little brother game to the big game coming out later. I think maybe next year, according to Chris. Chris says this is releasing everywhere tomorrow. I don't know why Game Informer only says Series XS, Xbox One, and PC. However, yeah, this is like setting up the stage for a bigger game coming out, I think next year. And this was part of a Kickstarter thing, if I'm right. The other game was the primary thing, and once they reached a certain goal, then this other like pre game was going to come out, right? So this is kind of like a 1A, 1B type thing. And yeah, Chris says fall 23. And the other game is more traditional, like turn-based RPG, right? This is
I thought this was 3D. What are they normally 3D? I mean, I don't.
This is a new franchise. Eiyuden Chronicles is a new franchise created by I think some of the people that made Suikoden back in the day.
Oh, okay. Well, it looks really good. I'll definitely check it out. I have no reason not to, being in Game Pass.
Yeah. Chris knows all about it. If you want to have a conversation about this game, Chris has written some articles on Iron Lords, lordsofgaming.net as well, and he will have all the details for you on Eiyuden Chronicles. That's for sure. He's been in the Discords for them and I think his original supporter of them for Kickstarter and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they're good. They're because the second one, the main game. Because this is a prequel, if I'm not mistaken, and then
it's 100
the other one
comes or whatever,
and then the other one comes out next year, and it's really, I think it's Square that makes. Is this?
No, this is
505.
No, this is
505.
505, yeah.
Published by 505 and developed by Natsumi Atari.
Atari? No.
Yeah, well, that's what it says. Developed by Natsumi Atari. So it seems very. If you like RPGs, you probably like this 3-bit.
Yeah, he says
Yeah.
Rising got added the last day of the Kickstarter and was supposed to be a series of mini games, but because they made so much and Game Pass deal, so became a prequel companion game. Yeah, so the Game Pass deal kind of helped them get the rest of this game funded, and they added more stuff because of it. So that's pretty awesome.
Salt and Sacrifice.
Yeah, next game is Salt and
Almost
Sacrifice,
like
also releasing tomorrow. This
Never
one,
heard of it.
PS5, PlayStation 4, and PC. Let me bring up this.
I'm looking most forward to the Eden Chronicles and Unpacking.
Unpacking's on Game Pass right now already.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's finally
it is.
coming
Nice.
to PlayStation.
Yeah, you can play Unpacking now. I recommend it actually. It's very relaxing. All right, let's check out
Very zen.
Salt and Sacrifice.
Inquisitors come to the Veil to seek purpose in their punishment. Purpose? Fools. In the Shroud Alliance, we carve the Inquisition with righteous steel.
But if we turn against one another, the mages will triumph.
Man,
Join
this
the
thing is
Dawn
brutal.
Light Order. Help your fellow marked inquisitors.
Yeah.
I like the art style.
Paths you
Yeah.
choose, to whichever factions you swear fealty. Remember why you are here. All mages must die.
Wow. Okay, I take it back. I am looking forward to that more than Eden Chronicles or whatever.
So, Game Informer had started to review it, and it says this is a review in progress. It says while their most recent hours in Salt and Sacrifice have been, for a better term, salty, they think there's a lot to like here for Souls fans and even Monster Hunter buffs. There are two series that share a lot of DNA with prioritized attack animations and a focus on learning boss patterns to be victorious. Playing one helped him out with the other, so marrying the hunting and crafting aspects into a Souls-like is a brilliant idea on paper. However, KhAos Studios hasn't adopted the best ideas from each to make the perfect amalgamation. They're cautiously optimistic that the rest of Salt and Sacrifice will redeem itself in the end, but from what they've played so far, it's flawed in ways that make hours of grinding boss fights feel fruitless, and the lack of rewards they can realistically use. I don't think, I'm reading again, this is John Carson, because I don't think I have a grasp of everything Salt and Sacrifice has to offer yet, but I'll share final thoughts in a full review when I do. So he's kind of like,
Okay.
I'm not 100%.
Okay, I'll take it back to the. I take it back. You go back to
The look of it is good.
Yeah,
Like that
Um,
decapitation
that's just
was.
one review too, though, right?
It mentioned like I'm not.
It's also a
huge
journalist, so
Monster
he's
Hunter
probably not that great at
person.
games.
I don't know.
Where's the
Maybe he
easy
just
mode
likes
button?
games. It does look pretty interesting to me, like the boss battles and like it looked like you had co-op there, or was that just like your partner or something? There was like another guy that was like
Probably have
seemed
a
to be-
companion or something.
Yeah, I
Follows
don't
you
know.
around.
Oh, okay. I don't know. That looked pretty cool. I will try both. Well,
Alright.
that one's only in PlayStation, right?
Yeah, it's PS4, PS5, and PC.
PC.
Never mind. Eden it is. Or how do we know how to say it?
Eden's in Game Pass. You don't even have to
Eden.
buy it.
Eden.
You can just play it.
Yeah.
All right. Next up,
Okay.
we have This War of
It's not
Mine.
available yet.
I think this is
Final
also on Game
cut.
Pass, isn't it?
Oh, it's 11-bit.
It has been a long road. However,
This
Better
game
than me.
originally came out in 2019, so I don't know 100%
all stories
why it's
must
going
come
up
to
here,
an end.
but-
It's
It's
the
in Game
final
Pass.
edition.
No, its Final Cut came out in 2019. So I think it's just hitting next gen
It's
consoles.
the Series X. Yeah,
It's Series X and
Yeah.
PS5.
Yeah. And it's in Game Pass too.
Nice.
Wow, that lighting.
It's sharper. That's cool.
Nice touch.
Honestly, I'm unfamiliar with this game to begin with.
This edition is for you, man.
Yeah, but it looks like something I wouldn't mind trying.
It's kind of like a limbo style game, kind of.
Right
I
on.
think.
Yeah.
No. It's more, from what I remember, it's more like Fallout 76.
It's not even first-person shooters.
Oh, it's not Fallout 76. Shoot. What's it
Fallout
called?
Shelter?
Fallout Shelter.
Shelter. There you go. I don't know why I said that.
Yeah, Fallout 70. I was like, really? Like
It's more like Halo.
All right, next up. Here's the one 3-bit. This is in the Game Pass as well. If
it's just a PlayStation release.
Oh, it's out on Game Pass right now.
Yeah.
So far, three of these games are currently in Game Pass. We're going to be within Game Pass by tomorrow. This is Unpacking 3-bit. And this is releasing on PS5 and PS4 tomorrow. It's finally making its way to PlayStation.
Is it on Xbox?
It's in Game Pass.
It's in Game Pass on Xbox. It's been on Xbox for a couple months.
I just heard about this game a couple days ago.
It's really relaxing. It actually, there's like a little story element to it as well that you wouldn't anticipate. Like, it's like following like the life of somebody as moving into their places throughout their stages of life, kind of. And you go through and you kind of like have to unpack their boxes, right, and put them where they put the stuff.
Yeah, it's about her like growing up and moving to different houses over and over again.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I like that.
Spoiler alert! There's all the stages.
Childhood home to like her adult home.
What the heck? That's not how you pack your clothes. You just
Put
hiding
the-
it under our pillow.
Put the toaster in the
That's
the
an
bathtub.
achievement.
Yeah, this is the Switch version. I don't know if this is on the Xbox version.
I think the Switch and PC version came out a year before the Xbox version, and then the Xbox version came out. Now it's just coming to PS5.
You didn't think I would see that, but I did.
Really good game, by the way. So I'm done with that gameplay. I mean, shit. All right, here we go.
This one is interesting me. The next one coming up. So
Yeah.
see.
Okay, this next one is a bigger one, right?
That's what she said.
What do you got?
Evil
Which
Dead
one is
the
this one?
game.
Oh yeah.
There's something in the woods.
Yeah.
They said
Something
a dead.
evil. Something dead. Something that wants to swallow your soul.
Swallow your soul.
It's Ash.
Evil Dead, the game.
The game.
They got up on the wrong side of the grave. Pre-order now to receive the Ash Williams Air Smart employee and Gallant Knight outfits from Arsenio Darkness. Groovy.
First you want to kill me. Now you want to love me. Blow.
Why would we? Hold on. That was a terrible trailer. Why would we?
Yeah, that showed no gameplay.
Pre-order.
Sorry.
It's coming up so soon, and it had no gameplay whatsoever.
That's an old trailer. That trailer came out. Like
Yeah,
3 months
I
ago.
just tried to pick a trailer. I mean, that's probably my fault, you know.
Oh,
but
okay.
It comes
okay.
out.
I thought
on
that was like the newest trailer.
It comes out on the 13th. PS5, Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. It is kind of like
Is there another trailer?
It's kind of like the
co-op.
Friday the 13th game that came out.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's a little bigger, and there's also a single player mode where you can do like missions and like unlock skins and stuff. It's not a story mode. It's just, they said it's just a single player thing. So you can, and there's also, you can play with bots if you don't have anyone to play with, or you can play with friends. There's one demon and I think 3 or 4 survivors.
Right.
So it's like a like the survivors run away, or they I saw
try
the
to
chords though in the trailer. Like
That's probably some demon power. The survivors, they go around collecting upgrades and they try to fight the demon. The demon tries to kill the survivors and slow them down and also upgrade at the end.
okay, so it's usually just one villain, like it is.
Yeah, there's one demon versus like 3 or 4 survivors.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got a different trailer for you three, but I don't know how the quality is going to be, just because that's just how it tends to work out sometimes with Restream. But we're gonna give it a go.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, let's go for it.
Oh, Embracer.
You see the name.
No, it was Saber Interactive. I just know it's Embracer.
I've actually never seen Evil Dead.
What?
You never seen
It's
any
3
movies?
bits. He hasn't seen any good movies.
There's like how many of them are there?
Hey, you have to swallow your soul. There's
You know me,
2
3.
Evil Dead
save
and
the world from evil.
Army of
Here to
Darkness
bring
is
us the lowdown on the
technically
upcoming
the
Evil Dead
3rd
game.
of the trilogy.
And there's a TV show they made.
Yeah. But the
Friends will team up as classic Evil Dead heroes to live.
Ooh, this
Yeah,
is way
I'm not
better
gonna
than that last
savage
trailer.
finishing moves
I
or
forgot about
pure
this.
evil, a new one. Or if you're not into the whole save
They
the
kinda
world thing,
tease
we have another option.
Evil Dead 2 at Doctor Strange 2.
You can play as the vile Kandarian demon itself. But who would want to do that? He'd be a dick. With the power of possession in your arsenal, you'll scare those goody two-shoes
Okay.
to death.
This looks awesome.
Literally, you can do that. If you're
They
a
should have
dick.
showed this first.
Whether you choose the path of evil or righteousness, you'll be throwing down in places you've seen before. You'll collect pages of the Necronomicon, uncover Nobi's lost tapes, and track down other legendary
Yeah,
artifacts.
there's probably some. Was there some open betas?
When
for
you've
this
grabbed
stuff?
enough,
Yeah,
you
they've been
use a
having
spell
betas
to
and
send the
Insider App.
Kandarian son of a bitch back to the hellhole it
Cool.
came from.
The Necronomicon's kind of like the Darkhold.
Yeah.
The
Dark
gameplay looks
Hold.
pretty solid.
Soon you'll experience the horror yourself.
I mean, it is.
For now, I'll leave you with this thought.
Now, is this coming to Game Pass as well, or?
No.
I would love it if it was.
Maybe eventually. I could see this
Yeah.
coming eventually.
Yeah. Embracer or Saber Interactive, all their games, the World Z and Alien Fireteam Elite, both came to Game Pass.
Yeah.
So.
See, there seems to be like little mini. So I guess that's the demon guy's powers you were saying.
Yeah, or there's
could
just
send-
random zombies around that you have to kill to like loot and stuff.
Ah, yeah, that was a much better trailer. See, now I'll consider actually buying it.
Okay. Well, it comes out on the 13th, so Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they did that on purpose, I bet. Think?
Yeah.
All right. Well, everybody, that's it for the show. I want to thank everybody in the chat for hanging out. Appreciate you all. You rock. Thanks for the support. And thanks for hitting the like button, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. All that good stuff. You all rock. Let's get the panel out of here. Hey, always Fuzzy Belvedere. Where can everybody find you, sir?
Well, just want to thank you guys for having me on. Want to thank the chat for coming out. For anyone that wants to hear my random ramblings about gaming, just follow me on Twitter at @fuzzy_Belvedere. Catch me on Xbox Ultimate on Friday evenings at 10 p.m. Shop Podcasts at 9 p.m. on Saturday. And then catch me again here on next Monday at 10 p.m. on FSP. Thank you guys so much.
Right on, man. And the mellow fellow vitamin boy from outer space. Vitamin boy from outer space. That's a little bit different. What's up, man? Where can everybody find you?
Somewhere comatose with some vitamins. No. You guys can find me everywhere on social media and Wednesdays on Fun Pop, especially this Wednesday, because we're going to be talking about Doctor Strange 2 Multiverse of Madness, which is a great movie if you have gone and watched it or have not gone and watched it yet. And they make a little Evil Dead 2 thing they talk about, so I'm not going to go too much into it. So you got to come out Wednesday to find out what it is, all right? So
Yeah.
and Fridays Xbox Ultimate. You can find me there with all the great panel members that come and show up. And
not the Magnificent Eight or whatever you call them.
no, there's too many. There's too many to count now. So come out, enjoy. Thanks, chat, for coming out today. Thank you, Mev, Jasper, Fuzzy, 3-Bit, for having me on today. It's always a phenomenal time talking about games and shit like that.
Yeah, it is. Jasper the Realist.
Yeah, you can check me out at Lord Jasper on Twitter, Lord Master Jasper on YouTube. Yeah, FSP Monday 10 p.m., Fun Pop Wednesday 7 p.m., and Xbox Ultimate is Friday at 9 p.m. So watch those shows.
Yeah, heck yeah, man. Watch those shows. Good job as well on Shop the other day. That was good to see you on there. And the talented, but
Headache boy.
so the talented but so aloof 3-Bit. Where can everybody find you, sir?
First off, chat, you have been amazing. It's the golden age of gaming. I'm trying to be Pong. I don't know.
Yeah, I did that a couple weeks ago on Xbox Ultimate.
Yeah. It's hard. Pong has his energy, and no one can match. You guys can find me on Twitter at i3bit. I am currently doing some commercials for Aflac, so that's what I'm doing right now. See what I can post. Aflac. Just wrapped up some commercials for Holiday Inn and possibly getting back into the game industry. We'll see where that goes. These people here know what that could possibly lead to, but we'll see. But yeah, that's pretty much where you can find me. I'm on this show. I'm on Fun Pop and make my appearances on Xbox Ultimate and some other shows. So just stay tuned on this Fun Speculation channel. I will see you guys on the next show. Goodbye.
Right on. And hey, everybody in the chat, you guys rock again. Appreciate you. Like they said, hey, we got lots of shows here. Mondays, as you know, now at 10 p.m. Eastern time is for FSP, including their tidbits segment is going to be a staple of the show. Wednesdays, we have Fun Pop. Fun Pop this week will be a spoiler cast because there is no way in hell we are going to manage talking about Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness without spoiling anything.
I mean, we could come up with another 40 movies. I'm just joking.
I mean, it's just, I mean, for real, like, we got to talk about this. Like,
yeah,
there's too much to talk about. So, if you have seen Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, make sure you tune in. If you don't care about spoilers, make sure you tune in because there's going to be some discussion. I bet there's going to be some debate that's going to be had as well. And we're going to look at what that means for the setup of the future of the MCU as well. Then we also have PM in the PM. Again, this week, Pong and I are going to deep dive on some major topics. This was like a no game news Monday. It was crazy. I'm so used to getting
you had
news
Gotham Knights.
Well, what do you mean? There was like news?
We had an announcement of Gotham Knights trailer for tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Like we're used to pretty big stuff like on Mondays. We did have the Division thing, you know, but like it's like kind of a light news Monday for gaming. So we'll see. Maybe something's gonna happen between now and Thursday. Give us some extra juicy stuff. If
You
not,
smell something in the air?
Nah, not really. I mean, but like, there's still plenty of stuff to talk about. So Thursday's gonna be a fun time. PM in the PM, 7 p.m. Eastern, and then Friday, Xbox Ultimate Podcast. We will be on episode numero 88 or something like that. 88 on Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to have a hell of a time for sure. Obi's going to join us again because we had his fake face on there last week. We're going to have his real face on this week. I felt like I owed it to Obi. You know, let's get his real face on.
I just thought of an idea.
Oh, you just thought of something? That's great. But yeah, appreciate you all. I hope you enjoy the content and stay tuned. We got plenty more coming. Have a good one. Bye.
Later.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for coming, everybody.
Have a good day.